I've started a new recording, and you know what I've got here?
Sounds like something in a package, so it's probably chips or something delicious.
It is another thing from the international market. It's one of the very last things I've got. I've eaten through most of the snacks and treats I've got, but this one, it's spelled Argaliot. I don't know if it's the T is silent, if it's
Ar-
Argaliot or Argalio.
yeah, never heard of it either way.
It is an Israeli treat. It is little, like, kind of finger cookies filled with strawberry filling.
Ooh, that could be good.
Yeah.
I don't really see how that couldn't be good.
Yeah, I will say that it was in the kosher aisle, logically, Israel, but I thought it was kind of sad though, because most of the rest of the kosher aisle was the kind of kosher stuff I'm used to seeing in grocery stores, you know?
Yeah, I guess there's probably well, yeah, for that kind of place, you would think that there'd be a lot of different variety.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good. That's what does that remind me of? Definitely quite similar to a cookie we have here in the States. Hmm.
Okay, yeah, I would imagine so.
What jam-filled cookies do we have here in the States? It's very
There's
soft. It's a very soft cookie.
ooh, that's even better. There is a type of Hispanic cookie. I can't remember the name of it. That sounds
Ooh.
very, very similar to what you're describing.
Well, I just this week got to try again from that place, Jaffa cakes, which are big over in England, and they're like half little cookie, half chocolate, and then in between them is the jam. But it's not like an
Oh,
Oreo where it's a sandwich. The chocolate and the cookie have been merged, so it's a complete shell surrounding the jam.
oh, interesting. Yeah, that does sound good.
Yeah.
Now you just need to be one of those weirdos that has like chocolate covered crickets or some shit.
Nah.
Which I don't care what people say, that's disgusting. And if you think otherwise, you're just saying that just for the clout. It's like, yeah, I'm super like exotic. I'll eat like dead creatures in chocolate and act like it's good. It's not. You know it
You know
fucking
what's
is.
the most morbid thing I've ever seen on sale as a food as a snack?
Don't tell me it's like cats or dogs or anything
Oh
like
no
that.
no
As
no!
long as it's not
I
like
mean,
it,
with
yeah,
my
don't
own
tell me
two
about
eyes.
domestic things. Yeah, okay. Well, either
I've
way.
not been to that southern province in China where they do the dog festival. God no.
Oh Jesus.
Which most of China that has never been a tradition. It
Yeah, the less I hear about that, the better.
Oh, I saw. Yeah, I don't want to get into it, but it's some pretty
Yeah,
tragic
yeah.
stuff.
I honestly, that kind of stuff, I'm legit just better off not even knowing.
But there was a bookstore. Was it? It's the Half Price Books
You have
store. They
half
would
price
run.
books out there?
Or no, they have Half Price Books here in Indiana, but that's actually the wrong bookstore name. It's
Oh,
the
'cause I was gonna say I love half price books. It's my favorite
Half Price
bookstore.
Books is good. Half Price Books is good. They don't have. They did. I don't think they had it in Carolina and Virginia. I don't remember, but they've got it here in Indiana. I've
They
definitely
have
been to a
none in
few here now.
Illinois. They have nothing in Illinois. They skip that state because there's one back in Milwaukee that's fantastic. But go on.
Ugh. But Books a Million's outlet store, where I guess they would sell the stuff they either just didn't sell in the store or like shipped incorrectly or whatever. It was oh shit, what was it? Second and Charles. Second and Charles,
Oh,
yes.
I love them too. I just discovered them for the very first time. Also back in Wisconsin, Gurnee. I'd never heard of that store until just like 3 months ago, and I saw it and it was like, this is the
Oh,
greatest thing ever.
yeah, I only discovered them in Virginia, and I was only able to go for the 2 years that we were in Virginia. But my God, yeah, what a great store!
It is phenomenal. Yeah, now that I think about that, actually might be the best bookstore that I've ever seen. It is. Yeah, it is. It's like the size of a fucking warehouse, except it
Yeah,
has the appeal, the aesthetic of an actual store, and it's just fucking loaded with used and new books. It's fantastic.
yeah, yeah. It was great.
Yeah,
Like the one I went to even had like a used video game section,
so did mine.
merch section, big old selection of
Yep,
like antique action figures.
yep. Same with mine. Yep, that must
You
be a
could get a
standard thing.
little packages that would have stuff like old LJN Star Wars or shit, right?
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. They would have. Their stock would have. It suggests that they would have had stuff like that, but maybe they just didn't at that time.
I definitely saw like some really old Marvel and DC stuff from like the late '90s or from the
Yes,
early
that I did.
'90s, late
Yeah.
'80s kind of stuff. Like a little rubber like Doctor Doom that only has 3 or 4 points of articulation.
Yeah, I saw stuff like that. Yeah, I didn't look at it too much because it's comic book stuff, and I'm not, obviously a big purchaser of that. But I definitely saw a good chunk of comic book stuff, a lot of which was used and older from it. Like I recognize the packaging as being like more from my time.
Yeah, but
Yeah, yeah. They had a record section, like a big musical instruments.
but near the cashier, at the cashiers, they of course have an array of candy they push to you, and one of them was these little packages of actual dead scorpions encased in hard candy.
Oh God.
And I just like I'm not a scorpion lover or nothing, but I just found that so morbid.
It really is. I mean, they were presumably killed so people could eat them, and they're not traditionally, well, I guess at least in America, not traditionally a type of animal, insect, whatever creature that you eat. So,
Well,
in that sense, it's pretty morbid.
I think there's parts of Texas and New Mexico. I've definitely seen a clip of a like Texas or New
Where they're
Mexico.
native, yeah.
I've definitely seen a clip of like a Texas or New Mexico sort of hillbilly. You know the type, very wind worn because out there the wind and the dryness wears your skin very quickly.
Yeah.
And he just went over and he went out to his little gravel parking lot out front, his little gravel driveway, and he finds a scorpion that's trying to dig itself into the gravel driveway, and he just reaches down, grabs it by the tail, and he doesn't even kill it first. He just chomp
Oh,
bites it right off
Jesus.
the tail and throws the tail away.
That's disgusting.
Yeah,
And also kind of cruel.
that is like that is the kind of shit that people see and then develop nasty stereotypes about hillbillies and rednecks, right?
It really kind of is, yeah.
Reminds me, what skit was it? Was it you that told me about there was some skit that's like going over like there was some comedic skit. It was like Dave Chappelle or something, or Chris Rock. I don't know, where they're going over traditional African American foods, and it's chitlins, pig brains, a spare tire, a human foot.
No, that wasn't me.
Oh, where did I get? There was some either like Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock or somebody had a skit like that. And I don't remember who it was.
I couldn't say. It sounds funny, but I can't say I recognize it.
Hmm.
A
Well, now it's
human
gonna bother
foot.
me. Yeah.
Was that Wisconsin?
It's the fact that he says specifically a human foot.
Yeah. I mean, again, was that Wisconsin or some other possibly famous serial killer state?
No, I don't remember where it was either. If I'd remembered who it was probably California, but either way.
It's hard to say because Wisconsin is known for two major, the skin eater crowd. I don't know if other states have two. I know there's other states here and there that have like one, but I don't know if there's other ones that are known for having multiple ones. Although I don't think a lot of people in today's day and age know who Ed Gein is. He was 50s, I think.
Ed Gein doesn't interest people so much. I mean, as someone who's not a true crime guy, and obviously you are, so you know more about the actual cases, but like, from the outsider's perspective, it seems to me that people are really interested in Ted Bundy, in Dahmer, in Gacy.
Those are three of the biggest ones.
For the social things that surround them. People are fascinated by the fact that Bundy was so handsome. They're fascinated by the fact that Gacy was so accepted by his community and that he was working as a clown.
The clown thing made a that was like the huge thing, yeah.
And for Dahmer, they're fascinated by the fact that he was gay. And
that's part of it, yeah. The bigger thing about Dahmer, obviously the most notorious thing is that he was, that he ate people. Although, funnily enough, that wasn't really that big of a thing for him. He stored the body parts, but he only like consumed a couple. Like he tried chewing on a bicep, and he ate a part of a guy's heart, I think, something like that. But he was more kind of like Gein-like, making like trophies out of body parts and stuff like that. And again, in that case, it often wasn't even a trophy. It was more because he wanted the person to always be there with him. His thing was about extreme like psychotic level loneliness. But yeah, Gein. It's funny because again, we got Psycho, we got Texas Chainsaw, and we have Buffalo Bill, and those are all directly inspired by Gein. So it's funny that through pop culture, generationally, like everyone knows Ed Gein, although they don't. A lot of people don't tend to know that they know Ed Gein. They don't know that it was like a guy that was famous for all this. Like one person kind of started that whole thing.
Yeah. And when I hear the name Gein, it doesn't even occur to me Ed Gein. For a couple seconds, I have to stop and go like, "Oh, Ed Gein," because first what I think of is, you remember in Silent Hill 2 when you're in the
Oh
elevator.
right, one of the newspaper clip. Oh no, that's right. They say it aloud. Yeah, one of the options you can choose for one of the questions. Joseph Gein or something like that.
Yes, Joseph
They spell
Gein.
it right, or they pronounce it wrong though. They actually say Gein, I think, which always bugged me. That made me think that the person who read it did not know that it was probably based on Ed Gein.
Yes, and that Joseph Gein that gets mentioned very casually there winds up popping up as a NPC in Silent Hill 4 you run into.
Really?
Yeah, because Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill 4 wind up being tied in a variety of odd ways. The obvious big one being that Walter, that we hear written about in the newspaper in Silent Hill 2, of course, is the main villain of Silent Hill 4.
Didn't you say that in one of those they make fucking like they make it to where like one of the people in Silent Hill 4 or 5 or something like that is like the apartment owner of the place,
Oh,
like some nonsense.
Silent Hill 4, yes, the apartment owner at the apartment you live at in the game is Frank Sunderland, James's dad.
That's a very corny tie-in to me. I don't know.
Yeah, and I've always thought the same, that didn't fit for Silent Hill's style of storytelling. Like, it'd be different if Star Wars did that, because Star Wars is a universe where you expect there to be more sorts of contrivances. Plot
Contrive.
contrivances. Yeah,
That's fine.
contrivances like that. But Silent Hill's never really been that kind of story. And it struck me as really like, it's like, that's the sort of thing I would expect from the American sequels, right? Because the American sequels, well, they loused up a lot of what made the original trilogy so classic. On a lot of levels, they just didn't get it. But Silent Hill 4 was still by Team Silent.
Uh, all the same people, or at least all the important ones, same writers and everything.
Well, that's difficult to say, because Team Silent did have a relatively high turnover rate. Because the dude who directed Silent Hill 1 did not direct Silent Hill 2, and I don't think the dude who directed either of those directed Silent Hill 3.
Yeah, because it just seems like I don't know, such an art. Like not only does it seem to me like a very, as you said, like kind of like a contrivance, but also it doesn't really make any sense. Like James didn't live there; he visited there. Why would his dad run a hotel there? That doesn't fit. That makes no sense. They
Silent
make
Hill
it
4
pretty
doesn't
clear that
happen
they
in
just have.
Silent Hill.
That's okay. Where does it? Does it happen in anything that's ever established as a place James might have been at? Like, does James ever say where they were from?
It's a few
I guess
towns.
they don't, do they?
It's a few towns over,
Okay.
and Walter performs a ritual in that apartment building, or more specifically,
Okay.
in the room. Which these are
Right.
spoilers, but fuck it. If Silent Hill 4, if that's a game you're interested in, odds are you've already looked into it, y'all. It's a little bit of a niche game or cult classic for some folks. And for
It
other
was
people,
fairly poorly received as well, so I don't think there's
yes,
probably too many people who'd be upset about it now.
yeah, it wound up being retroactively having its reputation improved by the fact that the American sequel sucked so much ass. But
That's true, yeah, that's the pattern.
like, so yeah, Walter performs some kind of horrid ritual of the cult's variety. So Walter is the connection to Silent Hill because he was raised in a Silent Hill orphanage, and the orphanage was discreetly run by the Order. And there's even one of Walter's memories that you can find is that you can read about Claudia having visited the orphanage as a child, and he gets to run into Claudia. Or not. Is Claudia who I'm remembering? No, Dahlia. Dahlia.
Claudia was, yeah, I was like, Claudia was 3.
Yeah, Claudia was 3, and I was also getting it mixed up with the white Claudia from Silent Hill 1. That always mixed me up.
Which just makes things extra confusing, yeah.
Yes, that is what always tripped me up, because there is an important plot item in Silent Hill 1, which is the white Claudia.
Right.
But yeah, Dahlia visited Walter's orphanage at some point, and the kids were being indoctrinated into a secondary, like, the idea was there was a backup plan in case Dahlia's plan to birth the god from Alessa didn't work. It was an attempt to bring it forth by some other means, and they convinced Walter and the other orphans that their parents would love them if they were able to bring forth the god, this, that, and another. So Walter goes from town to town, killing people for a little bit, and as he's close to being on the run, he performs that ritual in the hotel room that he was abandoned in as a baby, which is the same
Mm,
hotel room, the same apartment, excuse me, that your character is stuck in Frank Sunderland's apartment block that he is the landlord of.
okay. Yeah.
Which it's still a
I guess.
stretch for there to be a connection there, but I mean, it's difficult to say because simultaneously, like Silent Hill 2, like it's connecting Frank Sunderland to the shenanigans of the Order, but Silent Hill 2 largely ignores the Order outside of a couple little lore blurbs you can find. So
Right. Yeah. I don't tend to like, retroactive, I mean, I guess it's a retcon. I guess when you come right down to it, it really is basically just a retcon. I don't know. This whole
well,
idea that, yeah, you good.
they didn't change any ideas. Silent Hill 2 never says anything really about James's dad other than I think that's where James got the jacket from, the Vietnam jacket from him.
Yeah, I guess it's not necessarily. I mean, if it's not retcon, it's a word extremely similar to it, where they're going back and they're not, if they're not necessarily changing anything, they're still going back
Retroactively
and
building a connection.
yeah. Again, there's a certain word for that, and I can't think of what. It's yeah,
I didn't
connecting
imagine
strings that weren't originally tied.
when you play Silent Hill 2, you don't imagine that James and Mary are from up there in like Maine or wherever Silent Hill is. It's a vacation
Well, at the
spot,
very
so you'd
least,
figure they'd at least be a couple states over.
yeah, yeah, and like I don't know. I guess this is just a personal thing, but I don't really think of them like I'm fine without having that extra detail filled in. I'm fine. Like it does nothing for me to hear that James had family that was in any way tied to anything else in any way related to Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Like it just didn't need to be. It's fine without those connections being there. The stuff can speak for itself without everything had to be tying together. To me, that just cheapens the stuff that is strong enough to stand on its own.
Yeah.
Like not every like people have said before, like there are a couple of cameos that show up in in Better Call Saul, and they're for the most part they're all tied together really well. But I remember somebody saying something like, well, did Tuco really have to have anything to do with Better Call Saul? And it's like, well,
I think
ultimately the
that
story
was a.
grew in such a way like initially, it wasn't really that important, but that gets Nacho involved, which then of course becomes
Yes.
extremely important,
Well,
right? But
it's
like
what
it didn't
ultimately
have
gets
to be
Jimmy involved with the
Tuco's.
Salamancas.
Yes, yeah. It does all eventually tie together, but there were people who basically said, there were people who made that claim, and I thought, back at the time before like everything became as involved as it did with Salamancas and everything else, my argument was basically, well, it's all in the same town. Like it all
It
takes place in
is.
the same town. I mean, it's like all the exact same geographic location. I mean, yeah, there's going to be coincidences and everything, but I mean, fuck, I've run across people that I used to grow up with, and my town's like 100,000 people big.
Yeah.
It happens. Like that kind of thing. Sure. I mean, I
How many
understand that people
suburbs
question
are
it, but
there in how am I forgetting the name of the town?
which town
The Breaking Bad
in
town.
Breaking Bad? Oh, Albuquerque.
Yeah, how many suburbs are there in Albuquerque? Oh boy.
That's a good question. What are you oh boying about? What's happening?
Rabbit accidentally broke into the carrot farm.
Sounds like a happy day for the rabbit.
Yeah.
Sounds like a joke in there somewhere. You hear about the rabbit that broke into the carrot farm? No, what happened? He was a happy rabbit.
Okay, let's see. If I breed the two, hang on, I want to get a good variety of all the different fur patterns. So let's.
For the rabbits come in different fur patterns?
They do.
Oh,
Right now, I've managed to collect black furred, brown furred, and albino.
yeah. And what are you going to do with these furs?
Keep them around my general property.
That makes sense. There's a rabbit there.
Yeah, baby rabbits.
Yeah, that's how I feel when I have kittens in the game. It's like, hey, kittens.
Yay! I love it. I really
I'm so
do.
paranoid. You I was gonna just say out loud to myself here that I'm so paranoid about putting enough lights up. I like my place here is just absolutely fucking saturated. There's probably 300 lights on this property, but it just like in the older days of playing Minecraft, and I don't know,
He
maybe
used to
they
be less
changed this.
generous.
Yeah. It felt like I had to, and it's also hard to tell how much light I'm putting down because I'm using a texture pack or a resource pack, and I think without it, I believe the lights would have a bigger coverage than they appear to
Yeah.
now.
You switch back to the basic texture pack, and it's like fucking old like Julia Louis Dreyfus in Christmas Vacation when she opens the blinds and it's just
Right.
sends the
Yeah.
husband tumbling down the stairs.
That's right. It probably is actually like that. I should at one point turn around and try. You know, I'm gonna do that in a second actually, and just take a look out of curiosity, see how heavily. Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now because it's nighttime. So let's take a look, folks. Let's go ahead and quit out, and then undo this resource pack, and then see just how severely, obscenely brightly lit this village is.
Oh, ow, oh, 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 oh.
Yeah, don't do that.
Fucking Nightmare Phantom bit me on the ass and sent me flying into a berry bush.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
those
I
fucking things.
was getting stuck up by the thorns.
Are you anywhere by your bed? Because when I
Yeah, I'm
pop
gonna go
back
ahead.
and sleep.
Yeah, let me.
Yeah.
I'll probably sleep before you even get in. Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Yeah. Let me. Okay, active. Which one's the? Ooh, I have two of them active. Okay. All right. Coming in now. Well, it's taking a few seconds, but. Oh, Oh, you already slept. Right. I forgot. I didn't even need to sleep
Oh,
because. Yeah. Yeah, that's all right. It's no longer nighttime now in mine. You ruined the entire thing I was trying to do, thus wasting all of my time and all of the viewers' time.
what have I
So I really hope
done?
you're. Yeah, you went and went into business for yourself there.
I must commit seppuku.
I think you should. Ah, this game is so uglier without a resource pack. Good sweet lord. I'm sad for you, knowing that this is what your game has looked like for the last, like, however many hours.
Well, I'm fine with the way it looks because I'm not a fucking graphics whore.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny to say anything about Minecraft being in terms of a graphics war, but yeah, it does make a pretty severe fucking difference. Jesus. Some elements of my house that I took over and made for myself are kind of nice, like this. The lighting is less moody, which means it's more even, which can be helpful, but it's also more flat. It's more I don't know, more obviously the lighting is dynamic. That's just a mechanic of the game, but it is more. You don't see any real variation. Like right now, without the resource packs on, torches literally just do nothing. They're just objects that emit no light, or at least they look that way. Not until nightfall. But when I load the texture pack back up to my memory, the torches will still emit light even in the daytime. It's just not as severe as when it is when it's dark out.
Yeah,
Little things like that. Yeah,
yeah.
like right now the game looks very, very flat. Very, very. Does it even have shadows? Yeah, I guess it does.
It does, but
Huh.
they're just circles on the ground.
Yeah, basically, which is fine. I also need to change. I've been playing with. I forgot that in the last game, I turned on my what is it? Turned off full screen, and so because of that, I have this Minecraft window that's been up at the Minecraft border, I guess, that's been up there for a long time. And I need to get rid of that. So let's do that first before I forget. I've been so used to looking at it. I think I did that to back out of the game the other day. I did. That's right. I made it windowed so I could tab back out and look at the map to try and help me when I was trying to navigate to new lands. But I'm not doing that anymore, so now I can go back up. Where is the admin video? Okay. Let me do this first before I forget. Nope, right. Nope. I need to back out first. There we go. Nope. Quit your game, then just went immediately right back in without changing
Welcome,
anything. Yeah, that was foolish.
welcome, traveler. What strange and foreign lands have you come from?
I'm trying to remember. There's an old arcade game that would say Gauntlet. Gauntlet. When you put in a chord, it would be like welcome. And then more specifically, once you chose your character, it would be like welcome Red Elf, welcome Yellow Wizard.
Eh,
Gauntlet was such a good game for its time.
we're getting a new one. We're getting a new one soon.
They, like every 10 to 15 years, they make a new Gauntlet with varying success. They did it back in the 32/64-bit era, like PS1/64. And then they did it in the oh god, like they did it in like 2005. No, 2012, somewhere around there. And last I heard that one, I think they made one in 2018 or so that was bad. So I'm surprised that they're making another one. But happy, because Gauntlet's a good game. They always change it, though. Gauntlet used to be like a legit, straight-up maze. Like an actual maze. And then, from what I could tell, they made them more kind of like open. Like they were a maze, but they were more about like how would I even describe it? Like they weren't.
Wait,
Yeah, go ahead.
my brain is short wiring. Did you say Gauntlet or Golden Axe?
Gauntlet.
Oh, no,
Are
we're
they
getting a
making
new
a Golden
Golden Axe. My brain's short wired.
Oh, no, that's fine. Similar. Golden Axe. Ooh, did they ever make Golden Axe before? Feels like they have.
Well, they're right now pushing to... Sega is pushing where they're remaking or having sequels come out for pretty well all of
Their old IPs.
Well, a bunch of them. So, like, you remember, I think I showed you the video. It's they announced it at some convention, something or other. Like, it's going to be Crazy Taxi, it's going to be Golden Axe,
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be Jet Set Radio.
So Sega's, they have nothing else to do now, I guess. They run out of ideas, huh?
Well, no, it's more so that they're hemorrhaging money for a couple things.
Oh.
They made the bizarre decision. Okay, so the guys that make Total War also made Alien Isolation out of nowhere, which was a surprise to everyone that not only did it happen, but that it was good because...
Those are Total War guys that did that?
Yes, the Total War guys did
what
that.
What a vastly different type of game. Holy shit.
Yeah, entirely different. And that's why everyone was going like, holy shit, what the fuck? I guess
Yeah,
Sega
it
went,
was
holy
really
shit.
good.
Yeah, and Sega, I guess, went, holy shit, what the fuck? Well, clearly these guys can handle any number of weird things. So, hey, why don't you make a first-person shooter where you have to run around as a hip young kid of the modern era collecting Sega merchandise, and we'll pump all the money on and expectations on it. And wouldn't you know it, the prototypes kept coming back, and they kept going like, this is shit. And it's like, well, yeah, because this idea fucking sucks. What's wrong with you?
Wait, was that their response?
No, no one officially said that, at least so far as I know. But, yeah, right now, Sega dumped a bunch of money on it. It was called Hyenas. And they dumped a bunch of money on it, and it finally got canceled a few months ago. But it's become a notorious talking point, not only for just Total War, but for Sega in general. That not only do they lost a lot of money on it, and they're bleeding, and it's questioned about, are they going to blame Creative Assembly for it and punish them for it? Like, they're saying Sega's going to have to cut in a lot of departments, so this push for the classics is probably a little bit of, like, okay, let's go for some smaller budget, more popular games here, after that fuck up.
I see.
So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, well, I mean, they obviously they got out of the developer business back when the Dreamcast failed.
The console business, rather.
Well, my understanding is at that time they also said that they were not going to make games anymore.
Really?
But, well, no. Could that be right?
Because
no,
then who made like
yeah,
who made like Shenmue and so on?
That was did Microsoft? Well, they published it.
But wasn't Shenmue on the Dreamcast? Wasn't that like one of these?
The first one was.
Oh yeah, it was on the Xbox for a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, and then I believe the third one was the Xbox 360. Maybe also the PS. No, it would have been exclusive.
Shenmue 3 was in time. Shenmue 3 was in time for the Xbox One.
No. Shenmue 3, no. I don't think so.
Because Shenmue 3 was the one that was crowdfunded, and everyone thought would be the big finale for the series.
No, that was an Xbox One then. No way. No, that was way later. That had to be like 2011 or some shit.
No, when I say Xbox One, I mean Xbox One. Like,
Oh,
not the actual first
screw you,
fucking Xbox.
Microsoft. Yeah, the Xbox One, not the first Xbox. I gotcha.
Did you say fucking Microsoft?
Yeah, like I raised my fist, like you idiots with your naming convention. Fuck you guys. Like, damn you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was I believe the crowdfunded Shenmue 3, which was around the same time that old Keiji Inafune was able to get Mighty Number 9 crowdfunded, which was also wound up being a huge joke. Was the guy who did the first two Shenmues was able to get Shenmue 3 crowdfunded, and everybody's like, "Oh sweet, finally we'll get an ending after 10 years of so many questions."
Right.
And Shenmue 3 comes out and it's just more of the same. And then in
I
the
was
end,
gonna say more of the exact same thing.
and in the end, the dev says, "All right, now we just need to get the funding together for the remaining 7 Shenmue games." And everyone
Oh,
goes,
God.
7 Shenmue games?
Did he actually say that? 7?
It was so, like, it was honestly like, it reminded me exactly of James Cameron saying that there need to be 8 avatars. That he's got
For
8
fuck's
avatars
sake.
planned out. Like, it was like, I don't know if it was exactly 7, but it was definitely like between 6 and
I
10
think
more
I heard
Shenmues
5.
planned.
Yeah, something like that.
And like
God,
Shenmue
that's
3
so
comes
fucking
really
dumb.
close, I believe, to wrapping the story. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a Shenmue fan. I know barely anything about it, but I heard Pat ranting about it, and I saw a clip of what he was talking about where, like, the whole thing with Shenmue is the main dude chasing after the villain that he suspects killed his dad, right? The fucking...
Yeah, that's the whole plot of the first game.
And like Shenmue 3, there is a segment where there is a house on fire and the two of them are stuck inside it. And the Kung Fu, he just lets the Kung Fu guy leave.
Wait, he just lets him leave?
Like, that's the way memory serves, if that's more or less how it goes down.
Like not like as in he gets in some kind of like situation where he's forced to? Like he just like, well, I'll let
Like,
you leave for now to retain my honor, like one of those kind of fucking things?
nope, he just stands there and he watches him leave. Unopposed. Doesn't run after him or anything. Doesn't say,
Really?
hey, wait. Nope, he just stands there and watches him leave and goes, huh.
I'd have to look into that.
I need to catch this guy.
Well, here he is. Now what do I do? Ah, shit. Well, go ahead and go while I try and figure it out. Yeah, I don't know about that one. That's absurd, to say the least. Yeah, Shenmue was for its time really, really, really cool. It was the first game where you could just it was relatively, and I use that term very, very importantly. It was relatively open world. It was relatively sandbox. You could wander around and just talk to people. You woke up every day. There was a day and night schedule. You went to sleep. You had like an allowance you get from your folks or whatever. And you'd go into town and spend it however you wanted, buying like random shit, playing video games. It like had some life simulation things that were pretty new at that time. That was super, super cool.
Yeah, I want to say that a lot of the people who were really big on Shenmue afterwards effectively considered Yakuza the real continuation of Shenmue.
Oh yeah, I've heard that, but I've never played Yakuza, so I can't speak for it. And I know I should. I hear that one's also supposed to be really good.
I think that
Well,
one's up your alley in terms of like you'd really enjoy that it's a game where you just walk around Tokyo and you go from odd job to odd job doing fun little things, buying oddities, trying various foods and drinks at the restaurants, and occasionally you run into, well, not occasionally, but while you're walking the streets you run into some street toughs who are like, hey, you look tough, let's fight, and then you fucking tiger suplex one onto a guardrail head first, and the next one you throw off a bridge. The next one you smash his head into a microwave.
I would absolutely love all that. That definitely sounds good.
You
And
pick
they're
up
all
a
like
garbage can and throw it over the top of one and then pummel the garbage can.
that. Is it basically just like a free roaming brawler with a story? Is that kind of what it is?
Yeah, the fights are kind of treated almost like RPG encounters. You'll run into a crowd of street toughs on the street, and they'll be like, "Hey, let's beat that guy up," and then it's like, fight begin.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I would like that.
There's like a
What was
bunch
I
of
gonna
side
say?
quests you run around and do, and some are related to the fighting, but some of them are like notoriously very very comedic, or have you run into various other little side games you can do. Like, here's an RC car building mini game on the side you can do as side missions, where you can build RC cars and beat up people to get more car parts you can build into your RC cars.
I like that every like hobby in this game apparently has a bunch of people that are ready to just beat each other's ass.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where you go in that game? Like even if it's just somebody, oh, we're an RC club. Yeah, well, we're ready to kick your ass over it though. Like we're
So
ready to fight. You might think we're into a docile hobby.
so the one I put the most time into is Yakuza 0, where you play as two different characters. One of whom has a real estate mechanic that they run, where you hire real estate agents to sell real estate for you and manage and purchase land. But the gimmick is, for one thing, you have to find these agents out in the world by running into them, and some of them are pretty absurd for one reason or another. But when you get to a certain level, the local powerful landlords are like, "Hey, you've been pushing in on my land.
There you
I'm
go.
Let's fist fight." And then the other guy has a cabaret management minigame that's similar to like what you've talked about, like with the old Playboy game, where it's like find hot chicks out in the world, hire them to be waitresses at the cabaret, and whenever like
Yeah.
if a patron gets too handsy, you go and you beat his ass, which is
And wait,
great every
and is this an
time because
actual? Oh, no, go ahead. Finish
which
your
is
thought.
great every time because if the patron gets all handsy, then again you tiger suplex him onto a guardrail head first, you throw him off a bridge, jam his head in a microwave. If you've got a gun, you just pull out the gun and fucking shoot him.
That reminds me of a mini game in Saints Row 2 where you had to guard like some hot celebrity from paparazzi when she was having a meeting up on top of a skyscraper, and you literally just hurled them off the side.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
deaths.
the
Yeah.
thing I love about those kinds of missions is it's absurd to do that. It's also absurd to begin with that the paparazzi are going up there to begin with. Are they like airdropping the paparazzi out of the back of a fucking plane? A
I
parachute?
don't, that,
Is there like a squad of 6 paparazzi back there and they're going, go, go, go?
that's how they sold it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Just I mean, maybe not quite that detail. I think it was basically just like, oh, they're coming and they're annoying. They won't stop. Get rid of them. But yeah, as to how and why they actually got all the way up there, because you're on some kind of tall building where you can see the rest of the city, and you are supposed to throw the guys off the edge. Well, I don't know if you're supposed to, but you can, and obviously that's what they want you to do.
Now,
Yeah, that's good stuff.
so in Saints Row 3, they added a side mission series called, I believe it was Insurance Fraud was the name.
Oh, they started that with the first one.
Oh,
I
yeah.
loved that shit. Are you kidding? I was addicted to that. I wouldn't even play the regular game for hours because of that.
So do you want to know what's great about it in Saints Row 3?
Yes, I do.
One of the contacts you meet to recruit for your gang is an ex-luchador who is
Ah,
voiced by Hulk Hogan.
oh yeah, I've read about that. Yeah.
So Hulk Hogan is like, all right, brother, in order to get you prepared for the next fight, Jack, well then, brother, you're going to have to engage in some endurance training. Now, Jack,
Well,
I've got some pretty light stuff planned for you, and it starts insurance fraud.
uh, that's the training, huh?
Hulk Hogan
Throwing yourself
shouts
in
at the
the
player
cars.
character to fucking throw themselves under that car.
Okay. Yeah, the other Saints Row games didn't have Hogan telling you to do it, so that's pretty great. Was
Put
he
that bus
actually
over,
saying
brother.
stuff like was he actually saying stuff like brother and Jack in the game?
Ooh, it's
Was
difficult
he
to
full
say
Hogan?
because there are definitely wrestling fans on Saints Row. You can tell. I mean, well, fuck, Christopher Daniels is the radio host, but
Oh wow, really?
yes.
Interesting.
But so I don't remember whether he does a lot of brother dude Jack, but it being Hogan, like I'm not sure I would notice if he did. You
Yeah, that's
know?
true. Such a common thing to hear from him that if it comes along, you just don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yes, my understanding is Saints Row 3 was pretty much the last one that people enjoyed. Like I think
It
by
depends on who you
number 4
ask.
it was just like so like just like jump the shark. That's my understanding.
There's
And then I guess
a
they made
there
go ahead.
are a lot of people that deeply love the one with the wacky superhero powers. I didn't like
I
it.
think that was 4, I think.
Yeah.
I think even Ted, who like myself loved Saints Row partially because it was so irreverent in its early days. I think even he was like, it's too stupid now.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I understand because that is what initially set them apart. Saints Row debuted in 2005 when there was yet to be a Grand Theft Auto on that architecture of systems. That was the first that beat Grand Theft Auto 4 on the 360 and PS4 by or PS3 by like 2 years at least, 2 or 3. And they added some fun stuff just to
At the
to
time,
like kind of set them apart.
correct me if I'm wrong, I've seen some stuff where at the time people were going like, "Oh my God, when will GTA 4 come out? It's the longest dev cycle for a GTA ever." And of
Eh.
course, now we get to laugh like,
Yeah, yeah, it's now more than double what it was at that time. At that point, it was San Andreas to GTA 4, which was 4 years. 4 years. That actually felt like a long time back then.
Yeah, which was because I mean San Andreas was only 2 years after Vice City. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Uh, yes, it was. Yeah, which was really shocking because Vice City itself was only 1 year after Grand Theft Auto 3. That I was stunned. I remember reading an article here in this little tiny dinky town that I'm living in now on vacation. Well, not vacation. I was having a bad separation from my girlfriend then before I decided to finally walk out on her. You can probably guess which one that was.
Eh,
And yeah, I remember reading an article, just reading Electronic Gaming Monthly, and they were talking about yeah, Vice City, and I thought it would just be like a cheap, whatever, like $25 DLC disc. Because they would sometimes, rarely, it
yeah,
only happened a few times, but there was like a DLC disc you could buy for various games back in that day before it was a digital thing. And because it was like, well, how could this possibly be that fast? Grand Theft Auto, and which is funny because at that time, Grand Theft Autos did come pretty quickly. They started in '97, and by 2000, we're talking 2002, they were on their fourth game. So it's pretty much a yearly schedule back then. So I don't know. I was surprised. I think it was because the switch from 2 to 3 was a couple of years, and because it was such a significantly different type of game. I guess in my mind, I thought it would be a while, but no,
yeah.
it was like 1 year, and I was like, that can't be. And then, yeah, I was even stunned when I pre-ordered it at the video store that's no longer here in this town, and I even got it early. Like they broke street or something, I'm not sure, but they called me like a week ahead of when the game was supposed to come out. It was like October 22nd, 2002, something like that. And they're like, oh yeah, we have it. And I'm like, wait, like really?
Can't
You
do
actually
that in
have
the
it
modern
in
days of the
person?
internet.
I'd have to look back and find out what the exact release date was because I think I got it like just before Halloween, and I think the game didn't release until Halloween, something like that. Either way, it was it was before what I had known at that time to have been the release date, and it just like the whole thing felt wrong. It was like this can't be a whole new standalone game, and I can't be getting it this quick. Like this doesn't like it felt like unofficial somehow.
Yeah,
But no, sure enough, it was a big, full, much vaunted game that many people, not myself, still consider to be one of the best in the series.
and that's funny you say the unofficial. Like, there's loads of unofficial versions of GTA out there. Have you seen some of them?
Like legit, like obviously not legit, but I mean like actual unofficial, like homemade, homebrew type of stuff, or you mean like
The,
cheap knockoffs?
like the crazy homebrew stuff where people modify San Andreas to do the damnedest things, right?
I don't think I've seen any of these. Well, like what kind of stuff?
Like, it's a thing that's gone around. Like, I don't know if there's like, so in like some Latin American countries and notoriously in Russia, San Andreas is still very hot, and so is San Andreas modding. And sometimes you'll go over to storefronts where they're carrying this type of, just like a storefronts over there, and they'll have there where someone has printed out and sold in Latin America or Russia these heavily modified versions of San Andreas where CJ has been replaced with Goku or
Oh, you have mentioned that. Yeah, the Goku thing sounds familiar now. Yeah.
like Randy Orton.
Okay, that one's surprising. I don't
Well,
suppose they go through any of the trouble to actually like revoice the characters or anything, do they? It's still CJ's voice.
no, it's still CJ's voice, which is really great
Yeah.
when you see CJ's voice. And I saw the other day a one that was like they replaced the Grove Street guys with like I don't know, Ryder was replaced with Mario, and he actually had the Mario proportions. So everybody else is a relatively normal. Like CJ had been replaced with John Cena from SmackDown vs. Raw 2011.
Okay, someone was clearly a wrestling fan. It wasn't just a joke with Randy Orton. They went hard with the wrestling. That's funny.
Sweet had been replaced by like Goku. Big Smoke had been replaced by Naruto. Ryder was replaced with Mario. Then the coterie of or the assortment, I don't know what's the proper word there. The assortment of various Grove Street goons behind him, like were a variety, like a World War II soldier and a couple other characters. And I noticed one of the Grove Street thugs had been replaced with Adolf Hitler. And again,
So
they have
Standard
not
Mario
changed the
taking
voice.
So he was a black thug.
It is Adolf Hitler saying we gotta get the fucking, what was it, the roller, what was it with the gang you fight at the beginning of that game?
The gang you fight at the beginning. The gang you fight at the beginning.
They're in purple.
Oh, that was the balls.
The Ballas. Yes, it's Adolf
You're
Hitler
Grove
talking about,
Street, yeah.
yeah, we gotta get the Ballas.
That's amusing. I would
Oh,
definitely
it's
have to see this.
amazing.
I mean, I've said before that I've seen one where somebody modded in Star Fox. I guess it must be Star Fox 64 characters because they're very clearly fully modeled, but they look too good for somebody just some rando to have done on the cheap. So I'm assuming that they did the same thing that you're describing. They probably did, they imported somehow, modded them in. But that was funny enough on its own, seeing the characters, like seeing Star Fox, well, CJ, we gotta go. Let's go to the burger joint, get some food, like that kind of thing. And
I mean, there's several cutscenes that are funny like that, but just like replacing any character with Big Smoke for the scene where you're going to fucking get something to eat is, I have 2 number 9s.
Yep,
number 3
number
with
5 with double dip, or yeah. That
fucking
was the
double
scene they
dip.
did. Yeah, it was like either double dip or extra dip. Yeah, something like like number 3 with extra dip. Yeah.
Fucking Big
2
Smoke.
number
I love
9s.
Big Smoke.
Yeah, everyone does. Yeah, he's a good character. They all were pretty compelling. That's one of the reasons why I thought San Andreas was so good, because the characters had, obviously character. I mean, most Grand Theft Auto characters do, but like when I look at and I hate to say it because the he shares my ethnicity. Nico. Nico is also Slavic.
I am very sad about being a horrible war criminal.
That's his whole story. He's sad. He's sad, and he thought America would be great, but man, it's really not that different in the end, is it? That's his whole fucking character. Whole character. That's it.
The thing that always gets me with Nico is that there's a line he says that everybody just rolls over and ignores. There is a line where he says, I killed people, bought people, sold people.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, pretty early in the game he says that.
Nico's a human trafficker.
Yeah, I guess he is, yeah.
Which, yes, it's Southeast Europe, but most of the criminals out there would be tied to it just because it's so horrifically rampant out there, but
Well, to be fair, though, you have to figure, I mean, the worst you can probably get is murder, and every Grand Theft Auto protagonist is a murderer. So, yeah. I mean, as wicked as human trafficking, and as unconscionable as it clearly is, ultimately, at the end of the day, you can't really realistically say that is the worst offense.
But, well, no, I would say it's worse than murder, but...
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You think that human trafficking is worse than actually taking somebody's life?
Brother, well, plenty of them do end up taking the life in the end by the end of the road, but...
Well, that's incidental. Well, maybe not incidental, but that's what's I don't want to say secondary. You know what I'm getting at. It's not a given. That's a possible side outcome. That's not necessarily inherent to the act itself.
Like, when you make an industry out of this sort of thing, of murder, of human trafficking, and you're handling it on such a mass scale, the destruction of lives.
Well, so would you say that it's the scale that does it? Like, what if it was like Vince, for example? Vince is accused of human trafficking because of just the one girl. Would you say that what he's done is worse than murder?
No.
So it's the scale, really, probably more than anything.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm not disputing you that it's bad. If somebody feels that that's more evil than murder, I chalk that up to I think it's subjective. Like, I don't agree, but I can see why somebody would think so. I mean, I'm not going to argue that it's not a horrible, horrendous, wretched thing. Although, also, to be fair, you've studied this explicitly, so you know a lot more of the ins and outs.
I think that it's I'm not going to go into the whole thing here because it's disgusting and depressing, and I'd really rather not.
Yeah, fair enough.
When you look into this stuff, it's like it's pretty fucking, it's humans at their very, very, very worst.
Yeah, I would absolutely accept that, yeah.
But, what Vince did is, there's a specific name for, well, not what Vince did, because what Vince did was, Well, there's like a specific name for the phenomenon of when a guy starts forcing his girlfriend or his wife to sleep with his friends against her consent.
Did you say there's a specific name for that practice?
There is. I don't remember it.
That's not cucking, is it? Is that cuckolding?
Well, it's like he's prostituting his girlfriend or his wife off, because like something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, somewhere in
cuckolding.
between.
Cuckolding. I think it's important that the woman consents, because like it's also. I think there's like I think a big element of cuckolding is the emotional element of like the guy is turned off by. I mean, excuse me, turned on by
Yeah.
the idea that he's not man enough to please his woman, but some other man is.
As always, whenever this gets brought up, which is strangely often, given our particular, it's funny
It's a
that this
very,
always comes
it's a
between
very
the two of
funny
us.
fetish.
It is because it's so bizarre to me. I just can't imagine
Also,
like
Vince
to.
is tied to it, right? Because Vince,
Yeah, well, very much so.
what came out in the documents was him saying like, "I want to watch them, all of them get all over you. I want to
He's
watch the
wanted
black
to-
ones do it."
He did, yeah. Not only did he say that he wanted his whole like he said that he showed the whole like backstage crew, like the technical crew or whatever, and they were all like, "Oh yeah, they were cheering and they were all over it," and to various extents, I'm sure that's true. Whether some even like thought that he was being serious, who knows? Whether some were just going along with, "Oh yeah, that's super cool, Vince," because it's Vince, and what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Or yeah, it's hard to say. But then and then he said in another incident, he said something like, "Oh man, I would love to get like a big black guy," and it's like, what the fuck, man?
Yep.
You're really specific about this. What is your deal?
Who? What's the term for when it's specifically like I don't know why it's an old rich white dudes into watching black dudes fuck chicks thing. There's a name for that specific instance
I
of
think
that.
there is, isn't there? Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, something like it's almost like some kind of weird like
I want to say
twisted
it's
slavery or something, right?
yeah.
Like
I think
weird
it's
kind of
is it not
backwards.
is it not tied? Is the name not tied to the old practice of Mandingo fighting?
I was just gonna say Mandingo. I was gonna say that specifically. Yeah, it's like oh God, I think I know the term. It goes along with that kind of terminology, the Mandingo, big buck, that kind of thing. And I can't think of. I'm probably thinking of the wrong term, but either way, it's eluding me right now, regardless. So I guess I'm just gonna have to let that one go. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and like boy does that put sexual chocolate Mark Henry in a new light.
I didn't even think about that. Poor fucking guy.
And Big Daddy V Viscera.
Oh yeah, the big giant. He takes the two biggest black ice he's ever had in his company. He makes them sexualized.
I want to watch you fuck.
He probably did. He probably so did.
And like
And at the time, he
Mark's
probably just
such a
wasn't as open
casual
about
guy.
it.
I can just imagine him just kind of like taking it like, oh, well, clearly he's joking, right? All right, well, I'm gonna assume he's joking, and I'm gonna move on.
Right.
Hey, Mark, wouldn't it be really funny if one day I watched you have sex? Yeah. Anyways, Vince.
Their response kind of varies based on what we imagine they must have known about, like what Vince was like. Like how frequent was this, right? Like your
Yeah.
response from Mark, your postulated response from Mark suggests, and I would believe this to have been true, that this was just a common thing for Vince to say. Like he's just used to this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I wonder then how much of that actually did happen. Like over the coming years, how much will we hear from wrestlers who will possibly build a
Be
picture
now
that
looking back at things with a new
Yes.
light.
Well, I mean, not only that, because there's going to be a lot of that for sure. I'm sure that tons of wrestlers are soul searching as we speak. But I do wonder specifically how many of them would be looking back and thinking, like, wow, like he said this stuff all the time. And
Yeah.
I just thought it was a gag. I didn't know he was actually like totally legitimately really into this shit. I just found my stuff.
Holy shit.
I just accidentally, I mean, I was looking for it, but I just found my shit. Oh my God in heaven. Wow.
That's pretty amazing.
Gobsmacked. Yes. Yes, it is. Wow. Wow. And I fucked it up too, didn't I? I did. You know what? I ruined it. Can I quit out? No, because I have to save. Well, you know what I just did? I've been flying around to look for it in creative mode, and when you're in creative mode, you can't pick stuff back up. It disappears. It goes into your non-inventory. So that was all ultimately worth it. Thank you, folks. Good night.
Wait.
Go ahead, what?
Wait. You said you did suck it up, but it just went nowhere, right?
I sucked it up and it just like disappeared into my non-existent inventory. I have literally
No,
no. Wait,
no,
do
you
I?
have an inventory in creative mode.
Oh, I do. There it is. Oh, good, good, good. Okay, I need to still drop some shit because I think I might have still. No, this mostly looks like the right stuff. I think I blocked a couple of spots because I think I had a full inventory before, and I had a full inventory. Well, shit. God, what? Now I don't know what my inventory was before, but I am seeing stuff for sure that I didn't have that I know I died with. Like here's some potatoes, here's my, iron equipment. God, there's not a lot of stuff though. Holy shit, did I really run around for this little tiny bit of crap? I don't know, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, yeah, I'm just amazed. I'm absolutely fucking stunned.
I am
There's
too.
nowhere. Yeah, we now know for sure that it
It
can be
doesn't respawn.
snippily.
It doesn't despawn if no one's in
Apparently not.
radius.
Yeah, it was several hours. It was not only several hours, but a full, like, multiple game quits and restarts or
Yes.
reloads. Yeah, so it might not respawn at all. I don't know. I mean, you
It
said that
definitely
my
despawns because I've deliberately dumped shit in holes just to get rid of it and come back to you see that it's
you're
not
sure
there.
it didn't come back. Okay. Because I was thinking that after you had seen my, I was thinking after you saw that breadcrumb trail I made with the dirt, but then I guess you were close enough to that chunk, I guess, for it not to have disappeared.
Well, no, the opposite. I wasn't close enough to the chunk for it to disappear.
Oh, that's okay. Okay. So yeah, that would, well,
If you had spent more time
so
digging around in the general area you're in right now, you would have made
you
that
think it
stuff
would have gone
despawn.
away? Okay, yeah, quite possibly. I guess, yeah, that does sound right.
It seems to honestly just be that whenever you exit a chunk, any active processes like despawning items, fires, mobs running around, the game will just say, "All right, hold on to this."
Okay. So we would probably need, what do you think, a smaller simulation radius to ensure that if we die with something far away, it'll stay? Or am I thinking of that backwards?
I would guess that yeah, a smaller simulation radius would be what you want to make sure that when you die, the stuff doesn't disappear.
I'm gonna have to
In
look that up.
exchange, in exchange for the fact that like crops won't grow and fires won't spread and so on and so forth.
I wonder about my crops. I could swear that the last time well, yeah, yeah, okay. I'll have to look and see what's going on with my crops at the moment. But yeah,
Yeah.
God, this is so interesting. Well, now finally, anyone who's still watching, I can now turn off creative mode. I was getting close to doing so anyway. I just figured, well, I'll give it one more look just in case. And yeah, sure enough, that's wow. I
Pretty
wouldn't have
fucking
known this
rad.
if not for it. Is yeah, I'm honestly amazed. When I bumped into it just now, when I was talking about Mark Henry and everything else, I literally went to put a torch down on a spot that I thought would later serve as a landmark whenever I happen to be in the area again to continue looking. And I'll have to go back down, fly back down, look and see how far away it was. But yeah, I put down a torch and just moved a little bit further, and it's like, yeah, and oh, I just bumped into my stuff, and yep, sure enough, so fucking crazy. Well, victory.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I have to admit that I'm kind of impressed with myself. It's not even really anything I did other than just being tenacious enough, stubborn enough. God, I was so close to. I had to look for the area twice. I looked for it, as long as I was the other day when we played, which was for like an hour straight, flying around and couldn't find it because again, I was literally on the complete opposite side of a mountaintop. I completely misread, misinterpreted where I was when I was running around in the dark trying to stay safe with the cats that I was leading, and it took me looking at one of the maps. See, like it wasn't like a super cheat, but I looked at the maps. I tried to map out what little bit of the game map that we've explored here, and I was able to find out where basically it was.
Yeah.
And that got me to the right general area, and I found it, and well, I found the cats. First, I found the cats, and then I was like, okay, well, my stuff might be gone, but I'm gonna look a little bit more, and sure enough, so yay.
Good to memorize for all of us, really.
Yeah, it's really good to know. Like, for example, pink stuff, I guess, should probably still be there too, right?
Yeah.
He'll be happy to hear that.
Or very frustrated.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe. I better hang on to that.
Yeah, I gotta keep mapping this out.
Yeah, I'm finally like again, I was getting pretty ready to do this anyway, but now I can like I got the cats that I leashed the other day. I got most of what I can tell, maybe even all my stuff back. I'm not sure. My inventory just now was full because I didn't realize that I had an inventory in creative mode, and so it's quite possible that it's actually pretty likely that it was not necessarily full, but full enough that with everything I just picked up, I think some stuff disappeared. Unless the stuff you pick up overwrites what's in your inventory, but I don't know. Because it didn't pop back out of my character. You know how when you have too much stuff, you pick something
Yeah.
up and it pops back out? Yeah, that did not happen. So in creative mode, you either overwrite the stuff you have in your inventory by picking up new stuff, or the new stuff just disappears and does not replace the old stuff. I'm not sure which.
I
I'd
don't
have to
think
test that, which I
so.
don't.
I could be
You
wrong.
would
It's
think
been a
that
while
the
since
stuff
I've
you
played around
pick
in
up,
creative mode, but I could swear in
yeah.
creative mode in the past I've been frustrated at bullshit appearing on the ground that I can't deal with.
So you think that if you have a full capacity in creative, you know what? I'm going to test this out right now before I turn creative mode off.
Yeah.
I'll just fill my inventory with some nonsense, then go to pick something else up. All right, let's see. You just not finished with those things?
No, no.
Gotcha. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, they're not finished, but just thought I'd probably eaten enough, so I rolled up the bag.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's see. I have a totally full inventory, and I'm going to walk into. Where'd it go? Let's walk into this piece of meat.
Meat.
Yes. Unfortunately, my original assumption was correct. If your inventory is full and you walk into an existing item on the ground, the item will be just consumed into you. You won't have it, and it won't bounce back out.
I
It's gone.
see. Okay, they changed that.
Yeah.
They must have changed that because in creative mode people were leaving bullshit all over the floor.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me double check. There's a whole pile of stuff I threw out a little bit ago. Let me. Okay. Bloop bloop. Do I have any of it? No, I do not. Yeah, so in creative mode at the very, I don't know if you have an empty, I would assume if you have an empty inventory, you can pick the stuff up then. But yeah,
Yeah.
be aware. Yeah, definitely if you're in creative, be careful to go check your main equipment there. Because if you got something, if you want something, it's gone. So I do think I probably, because like I think I had some iron on me at least, some iron ingots when I came in here. But no worries, because I do have a bunch of torches, which I think those. No, actually, I think I died with those. I think these are actually legit torches. And here it looks like a cave, so I'm gonna go look for more coal. Now that I finally accomplished all that crap I was trying to accomplish.
Careful
And
not to die
again,
in there.
yeah, right. That'll be. Well, at the very least, I'll know where I was this time. But yeah, I'm gonna also try not to go super, super deep. Now that I know the caves can go that deep. Okay, there we go. I'm going to. Let's see. I'm gonna stand right here, and I'm gonna go run to the bathroom real quick and be back in just a minute.
Okay.
All right.
Meanwhile, back here, I will continue mapping this little area out. Let's see. Oh, wow, it is such a straight shot from that village to that village. I wonder if I could connect the two. Well, first I'd have to make an easier means of getting to this village from my home, because right now it's a little pain in the ass to boat my ass over here. Maybe I can dig a canal. We'll see. Let's see. Let's get out this map right here. Oh. Well, these villagers beating their own ass. Now he's not interested in trading. Trading, excuse me. You, what do you want? You want rotten flesh for emeralds? Well, I'm not packing that much rotten flesh, my friend. I'm sorry. Okay, let's check this map to see. We'll get past the edge of town and then into a little clearing and then some trees. Oh, yeah. So we're going to want to get past this initial set of trees here and then open up the next map.
I am back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, to anyone who's watching and thinking, wow, what a complete waste of fucking time it was to go look for all that stuff, considering it was really kind of a relative pittance. There's not a whole lot here.
What a
And
pittance.
I mean, it really kind of is. It's just one sword, one axe, a little bit of meat, some raw chicken that is, or raw rabbit. I guess that must have been from the cats out there killing them. And then just a few random chunks of, like, I barely even have any food. In fact, the only food I do have is the rabbit, so I'll have to watch that. And yeah, it's also true that as long as I spent flying around, like, I could have spent like 30 seconds just cheat spawning that stuff back into me. But I didn't want to, more or less. Well, for one thing, I wanted to go back and get those cats. The whole reason I died is because I went from one village to another one that's a little far away, moderately far away. It's about couple minute run, I guess, to get to another nearby village. And I got the cats from there. And I thought, well, I didn't do that for nothing. I want to keep those cats. And so I didn't want to lose them. I also just, my love for cats. I didn't want cats, even in digital form, to be running around a loose, hostile environment, taken away from their safe home. And I thought, well, I want to go save them. And then I thought, well, in addition to that, I would like to get the stuff back, the stuff that I lost, especially because at that time I didn't realize, I didn't know what was on me when I died. I hadn't really taken close inventory to see what I had and what I lost. So it wasn't even a matter of, well, let me spawn back in whatever I lost. I didn't even remember exactly what I lost to begin with. So, even though it was only a small amount, it was more or less about the, just finishing that particular part of the chapter. I wanted to undo that death in all ways. Come back with the cats, come back with my stuff, all that.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. And now it's been accomplished.
Yeah, and I am very happy to hear it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I was happy to find the cats again. I was very surprised though that my stuff was, because that's what I was saying just a little bit ago, was that finding the cats was one thing. I was very happy about it, but I didn't think that would be oh, it's just cobblestone. I didn't think that would like, after I found the cats, I couldn't find the my goodies anywhere. So I thought that they might have just spawned, but I was very curious to put that to the test, and now we know. Very important, ultimately very important lesson learned.
Yeah. So really the worst place is to die way underneath your house, but like still in the chunk of your house.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like when I died in that underwater cave, I would have still been in the chunk the entire time I was trying to retrieve the stuff, and that would have been
I
all the time in the
wonder.
world for it to despawn.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I have to look this up and find out how long. I'm just gonna do that right now so we can put this to rest. How long does stuff last? How long does it take for something to respawn?
Despawn.
Let me go to a. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, despawn, not respawn. It'd be interesting if it respawned.
Heh.
Kind of concerning, but yeah.
Here it is, some other assholes bullshit.
Yeah. Or just like show up in some other random place in the world, like the whole Minecraft world, just some other place, some other coordinate.
My things. This is where they went. There was a game where like stuff that got dropped by dead players or just dropped out in the world would be hoarded by some creature elsewhere.
That's elsewhere? Really? Like it wouldn't be like a nearby creature would walk up and take it like in the game now?
I don't think so. No, I can swear there was some game where yeah, in Lethal Company, one of the monsters that you can run into is one that will pick up loose loot, and if a player dies, he'll grab your loot and go and put it in a pile somewhere else on the map.
That oh God, it feels like there was a game that I played that also did that. Did Morrowind do that? Morrowind at one point introduced a DLC that entered in like night assassins, and I think if they kill
Oh
you,
God,
am I right about that? Am I remembering that right?
those things, yes, which screw up Morrowind's entire level scheme because you will be attacked from literally level 0.
I thought it was like level 5. Was it really level 0?
No, it's level 0.
Are you sure?
No,
Yeah, actually,
I
think
am
you're right.
100% sure because I can tell you when I played the game.
Happens.
Yeah, I went to the first cave that you're supposed to go to. You know, the one where they've got a couple Argonian dudes enslaved, and you go and you whoop some ass in there, and you free the Argonian slaves. And in walks in this fucking black hand goon, who's is of course a dark elf under there, so he's shouting "Die in Wa," and he just starts fucking flailing in my direction with a dagger because it's Morrowind, and I have to flail back at him with a sword. And this is when you're level 0, and also he's got the Dark Order or whatever gear, which is actually top of the line light armor.
Yeah.
And if memory serves, you can do it, and I did do it. And naturally, you loot the body, and it's like, oh, well, end game light armor. Yeah, sure, I'll fucking take that.
Oh, sure.
And yeah, that fucks up the entirety of the early game and Morrowind, because a lot of the stuff that you ran into that was a big problem in the early game when you played Morrowind on the Xbox back in the day. Let me tell you, probably not as big of a problem for me when I was playing early game Morrowind.
Yeah, because the Morrowind that I first began playing was the standard edition, and then it was like within just a couple of months, I think, of when I got it, thanks to my then loving girlfriend at the time, uh,
Oh my
then the
god,
DLC, the gold edition came out or whatever. Yeah, go ahead.
I just remembered why I stopped playing Morrowind.
Really?
Because the version I got with the DLCs, which was of course Tribunal and what's the one that had Soul's Time?
Blood Moon.
Blood Moon.
Or was it Blood Moon? It was something Moon. I think it was Blood Moon. That's such a common word though now. Other things have used it. I think it was Blood Moon.
I think so, yeah, because part of the whole gimmick was the werewolves.
Yes.
And of course, Soul's Time, it's one of those funny things where for Morrowind, when Soul's Time, the gimmick is, hey, it's an island of Nords. Isn't that cool and exotic? Then suddenly for Skyrim, they have old Dragonborn, where the gimmick is, now you can go to Soul's Time, an island of dark elves. Isn't that exotic?
I think they actually put it into lore too, but if so, I don't remember what it is. There's a lot of lore in those games that I just honestly straight up never paid attention to.
Well, I remember in more, and sometime in either Oblivion or Skyrim, probably because of the Oblivion Crisis, Vardenfell, which is the actual main island the game Morrowind takes place on, right?
Yes, yeah, the island itself, yeah, I think it like eventually gets like melted away or some shit, because the Red Mountain erupts.
Yeah, it
I
doesn't
think
melt it
leads to, like,
away,
a
but it
complete
covers it in, like,
wasteland.
all the ash, so that pretty well the entirety
Right,
of Vardenfell is, like, Ash Waster territory.
something like that.
Which, boy, it just now occurred to me, the Ash Wasters in Morrowind are more or less just the fucking, the old, oh shit, what's it they're called in Dune?
The Fremen.
It never occurred to me until just now that the Ash Wasters in Morrowind are just the Fremen.
Yeah, pretty much. I guess I never really thought of that either. Interesting parallel. That's probably where they drew the inspiration from, I would imagine.
Yeah, Dune did inspire quite a lot of things.
Yeah, pretty noteworthy work. Very
yeah.
old, too.
Yeah, but
50s.
I believe at some point during Oblivion or Skyrim they do say, yeah, the Red Mountain finally popped, and the entire island of Vardenfell was utterly devastated and drowned in ash, and maybe even parts of Morrowind proper, continental Morrowind.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because that's some of the stuff that you can explore in the DLC, the Skyrim DLC.
And
I
that's
think
why
you can
Soul's
actually
Time
go
has
on
gone
the.
from being largely Nordic to being largely Dark Elf, was because it's a lot of Dark Elf refugees from Vardenfell, right?
Okay, that would make sense. Yeah, that would actually make perfect sense geographically.
But either which way, yes, the reason I stopped playing Morrowind was because I, just dicking around, I was in Vivek City, and of course the thing pops up of like, hey, would you like to go to Morrowind's capital? Because that's the Tribunal DLC, right? It's pretty well just entirely
Yep.
the capital city of Morrowind.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, sure. And I go in there, and there's 8 million city streets and 8 million palaces that I wander through into some sewers and some more city streets and some sewers and
That's
some palaces.
pretty much what I remember about the DLC, actually.
And some
Yeah.
sewers and some palaces and some city streets and some more
A
sewers.
few of those, yeah.
And I was like way in deep, and I was like, fuck, take me back to Vardenfell. But this is Morrowind, we don't have fast travel yet. So I could never find a way out of the capital city of Morrowind. And eventually, after like 2 or 3 hours of wandering around that city trying to find my way fucking back, I just went like, okay, I'll come back to this another day, I guess. And I never did.
That's probably. I feel like that's probably what happened to me, actually.
That city is a goddamn mess. Like, that map is so fucking hard to navigate.
Yes, yeah, I think the literal majority of the DLC was just like that city map. I remember with my girlfriend, I started playing it. I thought, oh, this is so cool, because they had some new features, like they had no, I think this was a mod. We started experimenting with mods at the same time. They had like pack animals. God, that probably was a mod. Either way, we started. Yeah, that would also make sense why I got into it. Whenever I get into mods for a game, I'm always guilty of like starting to get out of playing the game because I spend so much time exploring, checking out, testing, whatever, fiddling with new mods. And yeah, we got the DLC. I thought Blood Moon seemed super cool. I thought Tribunal looked like it had potential, but yeah, it was like, wow, is this really just a giant city and a lot of sewers? Well, I'll come back to it later, and it just later never came. So my full memory of Tribunal is literally just that big city in the sewers.
Yeah,
Which obviously from what I understand, that is largely what that DLC is. Whereas with Blood Moon, I think Blood Moon was the one that came second. I think with that one, they specifically wanted it to be more of an outdoor, separate thing you could swim to and from. So you weren't just limited to like a whole new single little self-contained giant city.
yeah, yeah. And Blood Moon introduced new mechanics, whereas
Yeah.
when you're running into Tribunal, it's more or less like, well, you've run into Vivek and you may have killed him. Want to go find? And of course, the other dude out of the tribunal. You want to go see the other two out of the tribunal, and of course, you get there, and one of them's already dead before you get there.
I don't think I even got that far.
I believe the gimmick of tribunal is that when you finally get to Almalexia, she's killed the third member of the tribunal.
That does sound familiar.
And
Yeah, because I think she's one of the bosses, I
yeah,
believe.
you have to kill
In the
her.
DLC. Yeah, okay. Wow, yeah.
Which, considering
Which
the
is
player,
interesting.
the player can kill Vivek themselves.
Yeah,
Which,
you have the choice of killing them in Morrowind. I
yeah,
think, yeah, because I killed him at one point or another. I don't know where else I would have done it.
isn't there some context that where Vivek will not fight back because he says like
Yes.
because he recognized that you're the player character and that it's impossible for him to win, that even if he hypothetically does win, you'll just reload the previous save?
I don't think they make it that fourth wall, do they?
They don't make it explicit, but like, because Elder Scrolls has the whole thing where they explain that the player character is legitimately special through what is called CHIM. CHIM, all capital letters. And this is from that. Okay, have you
I do
ever
not
heard the
remember
stories?
that.
Have you ever heard the story of how Elder Scrolls lore happened?
I guess not.
So there was Todd Howard, and there was the main lore guy. I forget his name. I wish I did. I wish I remembered it. But either which way, Todd Howard, very practical guy. But the other fella came up with a lot of the Elder Scrolls lore, more or less on his own. 3 days dropping acid.
Are you serious?
That is what I have heard. Yes, and that is where he came back and was like, okay, there's cat people. They're dependent on the moon. Depending on the moon cycle, they can be born as several different varieties of cat. There are these frog necromancers out in the islands. Then right next to them, there's a bunch of Arab and black dudes that are such great swordsmen they can cut the atom to make a fucking nuclear detonation. The Dark Elves, they got three gods, and one of them has figured out that it's possible to figure out that you're a video game character, at which state you gain ascendance. And I assume somewhere in there, Todd Howard was like, "Oh, just write this down. Just write this down."
I mean that's entirely possible, but on its face, that sounds to me like somebody's meme, right? Like,
Yes.
"Oh, man, how did that crazy Elder Scrolls look? It must have been somebody on acid, dude. Because look at this, cat people and frogmen. Yeah, that just sounds like something that somebody would have made up. But
Yeah, I'm
I
looking it
don't
up.
know. You could very well be correct. By the way, I also in the meantime looked up that it is in fact 5 minutes for items to despawn. So
Really?
yeah, it says that, and it does say that it's dependent upon the simulation distance.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yes, it does. We'll I guess have to set it low. I think they specify whether it should be low or high, but I mean it sounds like it should be low based on what we know.
Yeah, I'm currently looking things up. There's a lot of people who've worked on these games, as it turns out.
Oh yeah, God yeah. Todd Howard is kind of like the overseer, which is why a lot of people don't like him anymore.
Vijay Lakshman, that name rings a bell.
Not to me. Hello, real life kitty.
Okay, I'm going to. If memory serves, it was the connection was CHIM. And
Yeah,
yes,
like that's getting into a like outsider perspective level of by that I mean like that's almost like a meta lore type of version of the lore. That part I'm not familiar with.
so CHIM. Okay, okay. I'm looking at the good wiki, the good Elder Scrolls wiki, the one that's not the shit one on fandom. Okay, is that it? Is it Michael Kirkbride?
The name definitely sounds familiar.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at his wiki page now. Michael Kirkbride. This is, huh? Interested in weird fantasy. That's certainly a word for it. Kirkbride and Kurt Kuhlman effectively rebuilt the lore of the Elder Scrolls world for Redguard while they were between Daggerfall and Morrowind, and the two of them had a strong interest in weird fantasy.
Weird fantasy. That's an oddly specific designator.
If you got something to say, go ahead and say it while I'm busy
No,
looking over this stuff.
no, my in-game cats were like meow. Just like, and after I said that, another one responded. Yeah, they just had like a little musical meow there for a second. I am trying to find damn granite in the cheat menu just so I can fill in two single spots here in part of my house.
Redguard was originally pitched as a Pirates on Mars game.
What? Pirates on Mars?
Let me check the citation on this.
I don't know what it is with these creators of fantasy being really into space as well. Richard Garriott of the Ultima series was the same way. He actually abandoned game making to be in like a NASA engineer or something.
Hmm.
Yeah. Hi, real life kitty cat. Oh, you have a name. It's Misty. Hello, Misty. What's up, Misty girl?
Okay, I didn't see anything about drugs on either of their pages. Let me look up Michael Kirkbride drugs.
I mean, it again. It just sounds like something somebody would have easily come up with. Like, yeah, that dude was on drugs. No, he wasn't. Yeah, he was. Look at this stuff. That's weird enough. But that happens sometimes. I mean, we were just talking about Dune. Dune was based largely on a drug experience, which a lot of people who've read the books or watched the movies or whatever probably wouldn't be surprised to hear that.
Okay, I see the picture. Okay. So it seems there's a lot of argument about it. About whether or not Michael Kirkbride did drugs when he was
It's
writing.
already kind of funny to me to begin with, but there's an argument about it.
Kirkbride explained that no, he was not on drugs, but he was at the time sitting alone in a room, naked, with a carton of cigarettes, a thermos full of coffee, and bourbon.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds more like it.
Which, in fairness, would make him high on nicotine and alcohol.
Depending on how much he consumed, I suppose.
Okay, now let me get back to CHIM. Hang on, let me get the actual, like... With Elder Scrolls lore, you always gotta go for the UESP wiki, because it's still actually built off the old wiki model instead of this shitty
I'm
fandom stuff they
shocked
got
that's
now.
even still around. Yeah, I was citing that specifically back when I was playing Morrowind.
It's one of the few wikis to survive the great fandom fucking mass consumption of other wikis.
I guess so.
Thank
Pretty
God for
impressive.
that.
Yeah, you sound especially particular about this issue.
Yeah,
Something
the
must have
fan
affected you.
fandom has a lot of bullshit on the side, like trying to advertise, like, hey, also one of our major whatever also has a Twitch stream. Go tune into that, and also here's a bunch of
Oh,
ads. And we don't really vet stuff very well, so there's a lot of bullshit on all of our wikis. This is blatantly false.
I gotcha.
So I'm not fond of it.
Yeah, understandable based on that.
But yeah, let's see. CHIM. Right, CHIM. Those who know it can reshape the land. Witness the home of the Red King, once jungled. Right! Right! The fucking Emperor of the Empire. He had CHIM, which is why when you read the lore in Morrowind, Cyrodiil is a jungle, right?
And he changed it?
Through the powers of CHIM.
So this is just like this is an inside joke, right? Chim means like you have development powers or something.
CHIM is the secret syllable of royalty. Uh,
Hmm.
Many writings have made vague reference to it throughout history. There's a lack of information. Is a state of being which allows for escape from all known laws and limitations.
That okay, yeah, go on. It sounds like it could be an in joke or actual lore.
It is the process of reaching some sort of epiphany about the nature of the universe and one's place in it, leading to a simultaneous comprehension of the full scope of existence as well as one's own individuality. CHIM is capitalized because it is from the Elnofex language, the language of the Elnofe, who are believed to have been the progenitors of the modern races.
Curious, okay.
Who the fuck? Okay. Now I'm.
Like it
Okay,
still
I'm not.
sounds like it could be bullshit. It still sounds like it could be just like made up like silliness.
Well, they've got citations from the in game books.
From the in-game books.
Well, yeah, it's Elder Scrolls. They give you loads of books to read.
Oh, you mean so that what you're reading is a transcript from what's in the game? An in-game book, you said?
Well, they have passages that are being quoted directly, and they have that actual citations. It's a wiki.
Hmm. Okay. Like I don't know. It sounds like this could be like an Easter egg, bunch of like just cute like insider like haha wink wink. This is how the game got started because like some magical being that had the power of not being restricted by time or space, or it could. I mean, again, it sounds like it actually could be straight like actual lore as well. I don't know.
Oh boy, I don't. This must have been like some kind of Morrowind or Oblivion thing. Mankar Cameron's Commentaries on the Mysterium Xerxes, Book 3.
That's actually I remember hearing that title. I remember Mancor Cameron. I think that was an Oblivion thing. I think. I know
Well, I'm
I've
seeing the
definitely experienced
Oblivion
that
rune
character in
right
that book.
here.
Yeah, that's it then. It must okay, yeah. I thought it was Oblivion.
Because Morrowind, a lot of the metaphysics stuff comes from the books of Vivek.
Yeah, that or the dwarves, I think. I think. A lot of that's kind of blurs now. It's been so long.
Well, the dwarves had a lot more practical science, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Which then somehow transported them to another dimension. God rest their
It
souls.
did. Yes, it did.
Okay. Yeah, the book begins with Chim in the Daedric alphabet. The tower touches all the mantles of heaven, and by its apex one can be as he will. More, be as he was, and yet changed for all else on that path for those that walk after. This is the secret of how mortals become makers and makers back to mortals.
Makers. Okay, see, again, I'm still thinking that they might be towing the line between this being an in-joke.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, there's a lot of stuff here. We're getting into
Oh,
the
God,
deep
yeah.
lore here.
You could read for literal days and days and days to catch up with all the different Elder Scrolls lore. Which, now that I think about it, it's kind of funny then that Ted doesn't love it. Because it's all about fucking I'm not all about, but it's full of endless, like, storyline prattle. He loves that shit.
He does, but a lot of it's in the books that you have to go out of your way to read. Ted wants it all to be in the main story.
Oh, I guess. I don't
Him
know
and
why it
Hattie
matters
both get
so
really
much, but
mad
yeah.
about optional story. They believe it has to be
Really?
mandatory. Oh,
Well, I do.
Addy gets super pissed about Dark Souls. He hates Dark Souls because, well, he hates Dark Souls for a variety of reasons, but one of them is because if you want to know the story and lore of Dark Souls, you have to do a lot of reading in the game.
I see. I was gonna say I do just like the modern trope, which way, way, way too many games rely on, including some of the ones I love, where it's like, okay, well here we'll tell you the whole storyline in the form of just books and notes that are just sitting there. Here's a recording that you found in this like special part
Metal
of the
Gear.
level. God, endless games. Like that's all they do now. It's all integrated in the form of like things that you have to sit and read, as you said, or things that you have to sit and like, oh, I found a recording. Let's play it while I stand here and listen to it. And it's just like, okay, memo number 3. This crazy thing happened, and here's what the game's all about. Now find memo number 4 to learn more. That kind of shit.
According to Vivek, the first to understand the concept of CHIM was Lorcan. Wasn't the heart of Lorcan what was powering the mech, the big robot
It
thing?
was. Yes.
Lorcan, whose curiosity and desire for change drove him to the rim of the wheel
Wait.
and beyond. What the fuck?
That's already pretty crazy. I just remember though. No, it's the heart of a Kulakan. But Lorcan, God, was Lorcan just another name for it? Because Lorcan did have something to do with the end game of Morrowind, and I can't remember what. But I remember like one of Dagothor's actual spoken lines was "Come and look upon the heart of a Kulakan."
Yeah?
But yeah, Lorcan was part of that too. Fuck, what was Lorcan then? I guess it probably doesn't matter. But now I'm confused.
Yeah, hang on. I'm pulling it up. Oh, no, it is.
We're going deep.
This is the heart of Lorcan.
Then what's then is a Kulakan the creature? Is a Kulakan the golem? Maybe he doesn't say the heart of a Kulakan, but maybe he says the heart and a Kulakan? A Kulakan? Because I know he specifically says, "Come, Nerevar, come, friend or enemy, come and look upon the heart of a Kulakan." That's what I remember.
Beneath
And bring
Red Mountain,
Wraithguard, for
Dwemer
I have
miners
need of
discovered
it.
a great magical stone by diverse methods. Lord Kagranak, magecrafter of the ancient Dwemer, determined this magical stone was the heart of the god Lorcan.
Then, okay, well then Kulakan is Lorcan resurrected?
Well, Lorcan is his Aldmeri name, which the Aldmer are supposed to be the ancestors of all elves, I think?
I think so, yeah. The Mer
And-
are I think, the elves.
Yeah, and the Falmer are what were formerly the closest to the Aldmer in appearance until they, of course, turned into a bunch of ghouls underneath Skyrim.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It appears in other cultures and concepts such as the Heart of Shore, the Hunger of Sep, and others, the Star-Wounded East. So apparently it has a multitude of names, which is probably why Dagoth called it that.
It's none of them list Kulakan though. Like that one's not listed among the various things that it's been called, which is interesting because I know he says that word specifically in reference to the endgame scenario. So if he's not referring to the giant creature, the giant again, like the golem, whatever you want to call it, the automaton, what would he possibly be referring to?
Oh, wait. The heart was used by the tribunal in Dagoth to become gods. The tribunal was cut off access to the heart of Lorcan. Sotha Sil began development on a new heart of Lorcan called the Mechanical Heart. Ah,
Okay.
yes, Dagoth would later attempt to create his own brass god, Akulakan.
Ah, okay. Now it all makes sense.
So, let's see, I'm looking at Yes, a Kulikan is the big robot.
Okay.
Also referred to as the second Numidium.
Yeah, this is. I remember when Patrick Stewart got the role of the Emperor in Oblivion. He was like, I'm in the game for like 10 minutes, and to prepare for my part, they gave me like a big book of lore.
Yeah,
And he was like, I love that. He said that was so amazing that they put that much fucking thought into it.
yeah. A lot of actors will say like they'd kill for that.
Yeah, he seemed very impressed by it.
I can
I
only
don't recall if
imagine
he actually
Sean
bothered
Bean
reading it
for.
all, but yeah. What about Sean Bean? Oh
I can only
God,
imagine for Sean Bean because he's actually in the game for longer than 10 fucking
long
minutes.
time. Yeah, he's kind of the main character.
If that was the second, if Dagoth Ur's big robot was the second one, which was the first? The first was made by the Dwemer.
God, I'm forgetting some of that lore. I remember the dwarves
Oh!
disappeared when they went to. Yeah, go ahead.
They made it to make themselves immortal, and then they vanished before it could be activated. Right. Okay. So the
Oh,
first
that's what it
Numidium
was.
was.
Yeah, I thought they disappeared when they went to stop. They got no. Yeah, okay. I mean, obviously you're right because you're reading it right there. But yeah, my memory is that they disappeared when they were. I could have sworn that they disappeared. No, okay, I know I'm remembering it wrong. I was about to say the first part of what I was going to say is I thought they disappeared on Red Mountain. Something having to do with the fight between Nerevar and Dagoth Ur, or not the fight, but when they went to fight, I can't remember who they went to fucking fight. Nerevar and Dagoth Ur, they were friends, and they went to fight somebody at Red Mountain. I can't remember who, and I thought for sure that the dwarves did something there to disappear, but no, what it was like the dwarves disappeared, I guess, like back home. Like they did something back home, which I guess was the thing about making themselves immortal. And it was while they were at Red Mountain that they got there in Nerevar, like looked around, they were like, what happened to the dwarves? I think. So if that's the
Yeah.
case, that would explain why my memory is that the dwarves disappeared while doing something at Red Mountain. No, that's just when they were noticed as having been disappeared.
And the first Numidium was left behind when they teleported, and Tiber Septim
That's
took
the
it.
Emperor.
Yeah, and he used it to conquer Tamriel.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so Dagoth Ur was trying to imitate the giant robot that the dwarfs built that Tiber Septim used to conquer Tamriel. Which, right, isn't
And
that
I
Dagoth
think
Ur's whole thing is he wants to conquer Tamriel for the elves?
it was either that or he wanted to bring down the tribunal or both. And I think, at least to me, what I remember being the big twist, if not necessarily because of that specific detail I just said, but either way, to me, the big twist, which is probably intended to be, is when Vivek reveals that yeah, they in fact did like kill Nerevar and take advantage, like they took his tools and made themselves gods. They're the bad guys, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, it's Dagoth Ur who was like, yeah, I'm going to bring them down. And you're like, well, no, you won't, because they're good guys. Then you realize, oh no, actually, they're evil, or not necessarily evil, but well, I guess wicked to some extent.
And of course,
And I
because
think
of the Tribunal DLC, you can accidentally do Tribunal first and find Almalexia having murdered Sothasil and gone crazy.
right, yeah, I didn't think about it that way because again, my first playthrough was yeah, specifically without any DLC at all. Like I don't think it even existed yet publicly when I first played the game. Yeah, then see, because what started this conversation, see, my memory, and I guess I'm wrong because again, I'm blending some stuff, and it's been 20 years, and I just don't have very good memory for these things. My memory was that Vivek allowed himself to be killed. He didn't fight back because he recognized that you were the reincarnation of Nerevar and knew the truth, and therefore he wasn't going to fight back. That's what I perhaps incorrectly remembered.
Well, yeah, now I'm getting back to the Chim thing. So, yeah, Lorcan figured out Chim. He looked at apparently the universe from the side and realized the name of God is I because the universe was shaped like a wheel and when observed from the side made a flat I. He
Oh,
convinced
interesting.
convinced the other gods to join him in building Mundus, which Mundus is the world, right?
I don't know. If you assume so, I'll just say you're probably right.
He
Don't
want
recall.
he wanted to teach the mortals Chim and failed. It's debated why it failed.
I was just going to ask.
Vivek suspects that Lorcan failed only so that others might know how not to fail. Vivek described Chim as reaching heaven by violence.
I mean, To be fair, that sounds like how a lot of people interpret modern religions.
Yeah, it's mentioned that Tiber Septim used CHIM to turn Cyrodiil from a jungle into a temperate plain and forest region. Oh, Jesus, then I get it provides recommended reading. Oh, good lord. And it's saying, all right, here's the 36 lessons of Vivek. Oh, God, no, please.
And there was a time when I actually read all that shit.
I
At
read
least the
part of the
in-game shit.
I read part of the 36 lessons of Vivek in game, but it's only the stuff you have access to in the early game. So stuff's just saying like, so magic works by actually concentrating and believing you can perform the spell. You can thus perform the spell. Nifty.
Right.
I could just somehow I like to imagine Vivek himself going nifty.
I was just thinking how interesting it was that you chose the word nifty. Yeah. Somewhat
Um,
anachronistic. Only a little bit. What?
now I'm thinking I need to, I'm enjoying that so much. Now I'm thinking I need to look up fucking Dagoth or AI memes again.
Oh, yeah, I remember you sent me a few back in the day. It's funny when I played Morrowind as well. Like so many people were unfamiliar with it, never heard of it, whatever. It's funny to me now, years later, that you know the Elder Scrolls is now like such a thing. Like everyone knows what it is. Everyone's either played it, heard of it, whatever. To the point where people can now actually make memes out of it.
Like the thing I love is that Morrowind's not like Morrowind is still like every person who gets really into Elder Scrolls will at some point go in backwards to try Morrowind, and either you love it or you hate it, and no one really ends up in between. But I find it funny that that was like the first of the AI memes. That was like how I found out about the AI memes to begin with. Was when I
That's
first
how you found out
saw.
about the entire like a concept.
Yeah, I saw just simply a
Okay.
YouTube video. It was Dagoth ranks pizza joints. And I was like, okay, well, is this like some like sentence mixing a la Wilford Brimley memes? And I get in there and no, it's the AI making Dagoth I guess like Dagoth is one of those wonderful examples of where they had every sound they needed, so it would sound perfectly seamless as Dagoth goes. Now, Nerevar, you must understand. Pizza Hut is some fucked up shit, but sometimes it's just the only thing you can get.
Had enough, I guess, syllables to work with. I don't know how that works.
What was it? There was the one meme I sent you where Dagoth receives a new nickname from restaurant workers. What was it?
Don't remember. Oh, well, I kind of remember it. That does seem vaguely
So,
familiar.
burger for $5 or something, because the gag is that like he's so astounded that this restaurant is offering only a burger for 50 cents or something like that, and he's like one for 50. He's like 1 for 50. I was so astounded I exclaimed it, and the restaurant workers, they from then on henceforth referred to me as 1 for 50.
Such an odd thing for somebody to do to put together a Dig Out There meme, but you know, for the fans, you know, that's like a neat little treat.
It is like it's like that's the delightfulness of it. It's like if it's a more famous character than Dagoth, you would kind of expect the people to make jokes like that, right? Like we do jokes
yeah.
without even using AI or editing or anything like that. We make jokes about Jerry Seinfeld eating people.
Right.
There's a degree
Very
of
true.
fame and popularity where this sort of antics is expected. It's the fact that Dagoth is not like he's not like the most obscure character, but he's not really a pop culture character.
No, I think that's very fair to say.
So, like, that's part of the humor of it, is that this character, you would not expect to hear someone go to the trouble of making him say these things. You are hearing him not only do that, but dozens, if not hundreds, of videos of Dagoth talking about stuff that is just nonsense for him to talk about.
And people made that many? I didn't know it was that prolific.
Oh, it was a trend for a minute to put. A good couple of them got pretty popular.
Oh. I have to wonder how many of those people actually knew what the character was, like, what the reference was. I mean, for it to be that popular, it's hard for me to believe that. I mean, the series always had ardent fans. I mean, it was on the third game by that point, to be fair. But I wouldn't have imagined that it was like a major. Well, this came out after Skyrim, though. So,
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. So I guess maybe
Skyrim
probably,
at the
as
very
you said,
least,
people
like,
probably went back. Yeah.
Not just that, but I would imagine there's plenty of people who didn't go back and play Morrowind, but they looked up videos of like, holy shit, a giant robot, what the fuck? And so they probably look up the final confrontation where, you know, you're walking in and, welcome Nerevar, look upon a Kulakan, or whatever.
Yes.
And most of the memes most of the AI memes of Dagoth Ur that I saw started with, welcome Nerevar, look upon my collection of
Oh, yeah.
Hatsune Miku merchandise. Initially, I didn't get it. I thought it was some gay shit. But then, I listened to one of her songs. And, Nerevar, you would not fucking believe. And, like, I listened to a good couple of these, and I got just so used to, like, knowing fucking Dagoth Ur talking about these things casually. But the attitude they gave him and how they would make him a potty mouth, too. And
That's pretty good.
some of them they would just make Dagoth Ur say weird shit for the sake of weird shit. Other times they would actually like have the care to have Dagoth Ur explain. Well, at first I thought this sounded like some stupid Argonian bullshit. This Pizza Hut, but then I tried it and it was actually pretty good.
I like the idea of pizza being stupid Argonian bullshit.
That's a lot of what like that's one of the things that they doubled down on a lot of the AI ones is making Dagoth Ur just super racist against Argonians. One of the ones I saw was them doing it where it's like Dagoth Ur is disappointed that the Nerevar is an Argonian, and it's just welcome Nerevar. Oh, 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 you're a lizard. I mean, I'm not racist, Nerevar, but I was hoping for something else. So well, I'm not going to lie, Nerevar. I was hoping for a hot, dark elf chick. A hot Dunmer woman. A hot, proud Dunmer woman. But, no, we will continue. We can have the confrontation and the speech, and you just have to give me a moment to adjust. I've been caught off guard, Nerevar. It's, no, come back here. We'll fight out next to the robot and everything. I'll give you my evil speech and my evil plans.
The whole thing, huh?
Yeah. Pretty fucking great.
Yeah, it is. I didn't think that it was that, like, again, I wouldn't have realized that it was that popular, but I also, I don't know if it's the delivery or what, but I also, it stood out to me when you first meet him, that is, in fact, you haven't even met him yet. You're still in the dungeon or whatever, the ruins, going to where he is in Red Mountain, and his first line is, "Come, Nerevar, friend or traitor, come. Come look upon the heart and the Kulkan, and bring Wraithguard, for I have need of it."
Yep.
That's the first time that I think a major character spoke out loud too. So I was like, "Oh wow, that's it struck me. It was very surprising."
Yeah, because otherwise, cool like when you're walking around Morrowind, like every race has the same voice, so you're hearing the same Dunmer over and over again. You know, like get a move on, Inwa.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, they all had their standard like handful of.
I can't tell why, but I think we're going to be good friends.
Are you referring to specifically that elf?
That particular NPC that a lot of people torture.
He's I remember I wonder if it still says this in his UESP wiki, but I remember when I looked him up back in the day, it said that that due to the fact that he is meant to be so annoying, and in particular because he's like pretty much the first NPC that you find when you get off the boat, they said that he's generally the first person that a lot of people kill.
Yep.
Fargoth,
yep.
Fargoth. Yeah, he was the one that I wanted to voice when they were doing when somebody was putting together the more. It might even still be going on.
That's a bold move, right?
It was. I wanted to make him super, super annoying. I was gonna be like, "Hello there, my friend!" Like really, really fucking intentionally cringy. Yeah, because I knew that everyone hated him, and I knew that he was obviously he's meant in like he tells you that he's like he loves you and he's your best friend. He's gonna follow you around. They knew that people would hate him. Like they designed him that way on purpose.
That's gotta be one of the ones where you gotta be careful. Him, Crassus Curio, the super.
He was the other one I wanted to do.
The super muscular old dude that gives you your missions initially.
Oh right, no, it was him. He was the other one that I wanted to do. Yeah, oh god, it was some other Roman sounding name. I can't remember his name now.
Yeah, Crassus Curio was, of course, the lusty Argonian maid.
Yeah. Who would have been fun to do, yeah. Yeah, but it was the other guy. It was Oh God, I do not remember his name. Yeah, the first one you meet, his name's right on the tip of my tongue. I used to know it very well, but I don't know it now. That's the one where when they were doing it was a major project, and it took forever. It was originally meant for Oblivion. Then I think they started making it for Skyrim because they took so fucking long. They were
Yeah.
gonna port, yeah, they're gonna port all of Morrowind into Oblivion. You could like visit it as a separate land. They would have all the quests, everything. It would be the straight up same game, but it took a while because they had to use all of their own resources, all of their own graphics and everything else. They could map it to be, relatively the same world space, but it had to be completely homemade.
Well,
And it
I remember with Sky Oblivion, the issue quickly became, okay, but what if we didn't just do Vardenfell? What if we did all of Morrowind? And that's what they call scope creep.
Scope creep, that's a good term for it because that's what happened with Morrowind as well. They started it originally was
More
I'm glad I
Oblivion?
have a name for it now, scope creep. Yeah, they wanted it to be originally Morrowind and bringing it into Oblivion, but then they were like, okay, well now we have developers notes though of what originally Morrowind was going to be like before they had to start cutting content. And it's like, okay, you're kind of going down a dangerous path here. And before you know it, it's literally 5 years later. They still never released it, not in a finished state. And they're like, well, now we're doing things like, terraforming and, we're adding like, whatever, like user voted things that are like the best, quality, additions. They're still within the lore of the game, but we're realizing these things that, like we're going to expand these cities and everything, but we're going to make it lore friendly. It's going to, it just went from like a simple, straightforward thing that everyone wanted, Morrowind in Oblivion, and they, as you said, scope creep. They just got way too fucking like big for
Ambitious.
themselves. Yeah, way too ambitious. And then they started, and then like literally, then the damn next game came out, which was 10 years after the last one. Skyrim comes out. Then they start saying, okay, well, wait, now we kind of have to like divert, also have a team to do it for Skyrim as well. It's going to be Skywind now, Skywind. And last I checked, they were still in the same fucking boat. Still like, we haven't totally finished it yet for Oblivion. We haven't
I
totally finished it yet for Morrowind or Skyrim. But one of these days, sign up if you want to help.
Yeah, I believe Skywind at least finally did release some degree of alpha or beta for the
Did it?
public.
Do you know
I
about
believe
when? Like within the
so.
last couple of years, or?
I don't know when it's been. I could swear I heard of it. Like people saying like, well, at least that one finally. Like I was seeing
I'll have
somebody
to look
talking
into it.
about the overambitious indie games and overambitious mods and what happened to them, and I did see someone saying like, well, for all these bad stories, at least Skywind finally came out in some fucking state.
Ah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I can picture that being in a like an article somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to look into it because I love the idea. But yeah, it was that really was just it. They were just getting too fucking like big for themselves.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just very, I also thought it was, maybe this is, entitled, whatever. I guess to a degree it probably is, but I just thought it was very, like, I don't want to say selfish of them, but I thought it was very kind of, I guess, presumptuous of them to think that, like, people wouldn't have just preferred for them to do what the original plan was. And instead starting adding their own extra shit. It's like really, who's gonna? I'm sure there are plenty, but relatively speaking, who is really gonna want to come to their project because of like homemade new stuff? There's thousands
Yeah.
of mods for that, but you know what
Yeah.
there isn't a mod for? A mod that puts Morrowind in Oblivion, and then eventually Skyrim. Why don't you just focus on that? That was the original plan anyway. So yeah,
I
I don't know. That's go ahead.
I remember that was always like one of the whenever I would back in the day when I gave a shit about Skyrim modding, which shit would have been when I was a teenager. Back in that time, I remember like you'd always see the mod that gets touted as like, oh, you need to look at this, and it's
Oh
what was
yeah,
it, Frostheim or whatever was the damn name of it,
there was something like that. Yeah, I
where they
remember
add
that.
an extra island out there alongside Solstheim that is just all, your own, their own made stuff with their own voice acted characters.
Right.
Having your own fully voice acted characters, well, that's nice and all, but I remember at the time just kind of being like, yeah, I don't know, I don't. It looked like really it was just more of Skyrim, the parts of Skyrim that I found bland, running around in big open plains while some furry Viking tells me, or well, I didn't mean furry Viking as in he wants to be an animal, but some fur
I
wearing
wouldn't have
Viking
thought
tells me,
so.
while some
Right.
fur wearing Viking tells me, ah, yes, my clan, we've been betrayed by the thing and the thing. Could you go get my ancestral sword from the Draugr tomb? Thank you.
Dragatum.
And Skyrim, there's a lot of, ah, my clan, we've fallen on hard times. Could you go and retrieve the ancestral sword from the Draugr tomb?
lots of Draugr tombs and a lot of what would be the word? A lot of accusations that the game. Oh my god, I started way back over on you. I forgot. Wait, did I not? No, I didn't. I didn't sleep on my bed after I reset it. All right, back to creative mode we go. Back
Yeah.
to flight. I know where I died this time, which is fine. But yeah, I respawned way back at our like legit original spawn point. So I'm not hoofing that.
Yeah, I might see you
But
flying overhead at some
you
point out here.
probably will. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing it. But yeah, Skyrim, a lot of accusations that it was basically just nothing but fetch quests, which I think was underselling the game a little bit. But there were a lot of fetch quests. Like I can't say there weren't.
Yeah, that was a problem I had with Skyrim in my time, was that, I mean, for one thing, there just wasn't that many interesting characters or stories to be found, or interesting lore to be found, but that there wasn't, like, the situations where they did have you make choices where the derpy stuff, like the Thieves Guild, hey, you want to join the Thieves Guild?
Yeah.
But,
Worst example. I mean, best example.
and, there weren't as many ones that I thought would be like, oh, cool, big monster hunt, there's a big monster out there, why don't you go and kill it? It was a lot of, my ancestral sword. Or, hey, these bandits stole my necklace. Can you go wipe out the entire camp of them? I'll give you $2 if you do.
Yeah. Can you commit genocide against this particular people?
Yeah.
They took something of mine. I'd like it back. You're the main character. You don't care.
You're just looking for extra XP. We all know it here.
Yeah. And at the end, they'd give you a little XP and I don't know, like 200 gold or some shit.
Oh, it's Elder Scrolls. They ain't giving XP. They'll give you $2 and you'll fucking take it, bucko.
Yeah.
There's a reason I just stopped doing quests in that game past a certain point and just went like, okay, well, I guess I'll just wander from place to place killing whatever particularly interesting things I find.
Which had to have been rough because you didn't like the combat.
No.
Ooh, ouch. Yeah, I loved Skyrim, but it had its problems. I enjoyed all the quests. Not all the quests, but I mean I enjoyed the degree of questing. I enjoyed that there was so much you could do. But yeah, many of the quests involved, some variant of get this and bring it back, or kill this and come back. I remember, for example, in Morrowind, hell, like the very first quest is the one where you return Fargoth's ring. You could either return it to him, you could keep it and have like a neat item, or you could even like in the same town, excuse me, Satanin, you could find a Nord who freely admits that he likes to fuck with Fargoth, and he's like, no, like let's do this and let's trick him, and I know where his hiding place is, go take his stuff, and like there's, you could, it wasn't just so simple as like again, go here and then come back. There was like variations. There was stuff you could do. There was a lot of
You could tell with Skyrim they wanted to imitate something similar over in is it Rorikstead? What's the first village you're supposed to go to if you follow the tutorial dude?
Did you say if you follow the tutorial guy? Is that what
Yeah.
you said? What is the first? Oh yeah, it's a little tiny village. Is it Rorikstead? No, the little. Well, if you follow the. No, if you follow the Nord, he's not the one who says that he comes from Rorikstead. He's the big Nord who's like, hey, pay tribute to, to the guy. He's our savior or whatever.
Right.
You follow them. Yeah, I can't remember what that. Stormcloak. It's pay tribute to Stormcloak. Don't talk shit about him. He's cool or whatever. If you follow that guy, he leads you to. He's a Nord, and he leads you to his little Nord village. So it's not.
The Imperial
Rorikstead.
does too. It's the exact same village.
Yeah, it is. That's right. I forgot about that. Oh my god, they even lead you to the same fucking place.
Yeah.
Jesus, guys.
Yeah, the Nord leads you to the blacksmith. The Imperial leads you to like the lumberjack or something.
Yeah, he does. Yes, he does. That's right. Yeah, that just goes to show that even see. Again, I love Skyrim. I do. I love the game, but there are just so many fucking lazy little so many examples in that game of them just dumbing shit down. Like, oh, I get a choice. I can follow two different guys and go to two different places. Yeah, and you wind up in the same like 15 feet away. Regardless of what, yeah. And,
down the street.
Yeah, it literally is
in a town with 2 streets.
There's like 6 houses, and you go either into one or the other one, and then there's like 4 other ones that you would maybe go into.
Yeah, and there's
so fucking dumbed down.
Yeah, there's one building that's got the lumberjack, one building's got the blacksmith, one building's got the little Nord dipshit, one building's got the little elf dipshit, and then there's the merchant place where you can go in. And you got the merchant who's super douchebaggy and says, hey, I'd sell you my sister if I could. Blah, blah.
Yeah,
could you get my golden claw from the Draugr?
That's right. That's right, him, the New
And,
York merchant. Then you have
well,
the
it's
cool one, who's the blacksmith, who's outside. Like, yeah, you can use my forge.
yeah. And then, the merchant's sister is like, oh no, I've got the hot Nord and the hot Wood Elf fighting over me. Oh
Yep,
no.
I remember that.
And it's
You
like
have to
you can
choose which
choose.
one you side with,
Yeah, you can tell, all right, fuck the Nord, or oh, all right, fuck the Elf. And whichever
and some
one
memory doesn't matter.
yeah, and whichever one you tell her to fuck is like, hey, you got that chick to fuck me. I'll hang out with you. And then you can take him to the far ends of the earth. Well, presumably he will never interact with that girl ever again.
No, no, he does not.
Like Lydia, you just put him in the fucking back of your cargo train. You offload all your bullshit onto him. At least
Now, to be
Lydia
fair,
smartasses you for it.
does she? I don't remember that. I don't know if I ever
Oh,
did
it's
that with Lydia.
the line delivery she has when you give her things is, I am sworn to carry your burdens.
Oh, that's right. I thought you meant something more referring to the quests. Yeah, yeah, you're right. She specifically does in fact say that. Yeah, I'm sworn to carry your burdens.
Yeah.
Skyrim was, and this is another example of just I try not to piss on the game because again I really do love it. You wouldn't think that talking to me, but in broad strokes, there's a lot that I think the game just drops the ball on.
Well, it's a big fucking game, so there's a lot to talk about.
There is, yeah, there is. I mean, there's. If I were to get into all the details, there's tons of stuff that I do like about the game. But I just think that it was just very, very, they made it a lot more basic than I would have liked. And another example is as you said, like the follower system. It's cool that they have like 6 different. Oh God, there's a word for them. I can't remember what. Not thralls, but for lack of a better term. That's cool.
Well, there's the
There's
Thanes for each
also
of the cities.
Thanes. That's what I'm looking for. Thanes. That's the word I was
But
looking
the
for.
Thanes
Thank
are
you.
like a fraction of the companions you can get.
Yeah, not even a small fraction though. There were like 6 Thanes, and then there were only probably about maybe like 15 or 20, maybe. Like regular people, like quote,
Yeah.
whatever, like randos that you could recruit in the game, which is perfectly fine. That I mean, the previous games didn't let you have any, so it's cool that you do. And the system was interesting. Again, they shove it to you right away. It's like, here's Lydia, I'm just gonna give her to you because the
Yeah.
system, like, we just want you to have it. Like no effort, here, take it.
In fairness on that one, I'll at least say, like, it's reasonable that Jarl, what's-his-face, makes you think, because, like, hey, you killed a fucking dragon and prevented it from burning down my city. I think I owe you
It's
something.
true. Yeah,
It's
in
not like the
context of what you
Thieves Guild where
actually.
you show up in the Jarl's place and the Jarl's like, hey, you're the Thane! There you go.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. At the very least, in the context of the game, you achieve a big thing in order to be awarded Lydia. It's just funny to me that it's like within the first like half hour of gameplay that it's like, oh yeah, here's this now. Like, oh, I get a
Oh,
whole new
yes,
partner
that
now.
is
Cool.
stupid. That
Yeah,
your
it's like
character
very
will
early. It's
be
one of the first things you do.
like your character is carrying pretty well sticks and fucking stones and kills a dragon, but
Right.
like hours and hours later, you're going to be getting fucking rinsed by what's it?
The priests were the ones that always kicked my ass. The mask priests.
Oh, the dragon priest will
Or what
whoop
they're
ass.
called. The dragon
But
priest. Yeah.
what's
But
the
they get oh, like the giants.
no? What's
Not
the
even them.
druid dudes that hang out near High Rock, near like Riften
Oh,
and Falkreath or whatever?
the druid dudes. You're not talking about
The
the
Forsworn?
graveyards. Forsworn. Who were the no? Well, no. The Forsworn were those were like tribal raiders.
I thought they were very druidic though. Like
Uh,
what I mean is like weird tribal worship. They had stag heads on for their helmets.
yes, you're correct about that. Yeah, yeah. If that's what you're referring to, then yeah.
Yeah, then you're gonna be whooping a dragon's ass. Then like I don't know. If you pop on over in the direction of like Falkreath, 2 Forsworn show up and whoop your ass.
Sounds about right. Yeah, but yeah, I guess the dragons in that game were like, see, that's another example. Okay, the whole thing's built upon the dragons. The dragons are super easy to defeat. You can get all these cool mystical shouts. There's like 4 that make a difference out of like
Yeah,
literally like 25.
and there's one that the one that always bugged me is you got the word of power dash, and it covers so much ground. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. This is a big change to the combat system. If I can dash around, 40-second cooldown. What?
Like not quite Mega Man, that one.
No.
Um, God, I'm trying to think of. I was gonna. What was I even gonna say? I was talking about the disadvantages. Oh, yeah, I was gonna say it's not a disadvantage rather, but I was gonna say like the thralls that you can get, or the thanes, rather. You can get the thanes, you can get the various people out in the world, you can get married and everything like that. That's cool. It's cool that they integrated that. It's cool that they have the system like that in the game. Period. That's just plain a good thing. I don't know why anyone would not like it. I could see it not being like deep enough or whatever, which is what I thought, which is what I'm gonna go on about in a second. But I think it's cool that they had it. Period. However, then you go to a mod and there's like just the simplest little like kilobytes in size mod where you can walk around and I don't know, cast a spell at any character and they're your permanent follower for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Anyone. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, you can also have 100 of them at once if you want to. You can walk around with a literal army.
Yeah.
Why didn't the game do that? I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah,
it took
it's
someone
one
else
of
to say, hey, why don't I do this? Wouldn't this be cool? Yeah, well, why didn't the fucking developers think of that?
Well,
Sorry,
I think that they thought of it like it's one of those things where I'm sure they were like, well, we have to put a limit on companions because if you had an army behind you, you'd make most of the challenges of the game a
The
joke.
army size thing, yeah. The being able to recruit any random NPC though, that I don't understand why that. Because I mean, the
In
people who made the
fairness,
mod
you can
made it
fuck
clear
up
that
a
it's
few
fucking-
quest. You can
you-
fuck up a
you-
few quest lines by doing that.
But see, that's another example that brings it back to Morrowind, where Morrowind, if you fucked up a quest, you just fucked it up. Period. You
Yeah,
find out later if at all that I messed up. And if it was a major quest, they'd straight up tell you, well, you fucked up. You can keep playing if you want, but it's going to be fucked up. Whereas
Yeah, it just straight
now-
up says like you've interrupted the time stream and can no longer
Yes.
complete the main quest. But
Yep.
do you want to keep going anyways, Sunshine?
Yeah, it's like, hey, if you want to, just know that the game's going to be fucked now. They let
Yeah.
you do that. Whereas now in Skyrim, not
I
only
mean-
are you completely disabled from fucking up a main quest, because the character will just be knocked out. You can't kill a major quest character.
Yeah,
In
and then he gets
addition-
back up angry and charges at
Right.
you,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Anytime that you thought you outsmarted the game, like, oh, I can solve this quest line just by going ahead and killing. Like,
Killing this
I
guy.
can solve this Riften quest line with this Blackbriar Maven or whatever. I can solve
Oh,
all of her
that-
bullshit in Riften by
remember
just
her.
going ahead and killing her.
Yes.
And of course, I go up to her one day and I break into her house. I chop down her two bodyguards. I say every time Peter Stormare kicking through the door, ah!
yeah.
It is a funny mental image that I've come to the conclusion. All right, I figured out how to solve all our problems. Just jump cut to kicking in the fucking door, screaming my head off, battle axe overhead. One swing, off goes the head of one bodyguard. The other swing,
Right.
boom, axe embedded in the chest. Then I go to swing at Maven, and she's just like, ow! Goes down to a knee, sits on her knee
Yeah.
for about 10 seconds.
I forgot
gets,
the knee animation.
Gets back up on her feet. I'll kill you, fiend! Runs up to me with a butter knife. It limply fails to even scratch my armor. Chop her down again. She goes back down to a knee.
Oh, it'll
Ow!
run forever if you wanted to. Yeah, there's no
Oh,
getting around it.
yes!
Yeah, it literally just won't end. You have to just leave.
Yeah.
and go away for a while, at which point she just forgets that it ever happened.
Yeah, she'll run into you again and just be like, ah, yes, another peasant of Riften. Look at my delicious, delicious mafia crime money that I am making. Ha ha, I am evil.
You'd think that she would have remembered somebody coming in, like just assaulting her the way you described, just running screaming with like a broadsword or some shit.
Well,
Nah.
she's no longer followed around by bodyguards. Or whatever, right? Now she's just walking around without bodyguards because those dudes don't respond.
Really? Could you do that?
I
You
don't
can actually
remember.
kill
Maybe
her
they
followers, though?
actually, her bodyguard may have been essential too, because I remember. Yeah, it
don't
was
know.
some big Nord dude with black hair who would go like, "Don't look at her, don't get too close to her. I have an axe."
Oh, okay.
And I'm just sitting there like, man, this is some scintillating character writing here. I mean, like at times it just felt like Skyrim was giving you like almost the pastiche or excuse me, the pastiche version of fantasy at times. You know?
It did. Yeah, it really did. I mean, again, I to me, and I've said this before, the biggest example I can think of is well, actually, before I continue, really quick, can you do me a favor?
What's that?
Could you turn on coordinates just really quick to tell me something about
Coordinates
your
are
position?
on.
They're on yours.
Yeah.
Okay. Does the first position, the first four digits, are they preceded by a dash? Is it a minus coordinate?
Nope, they're all positive.
It's not. Okay, that's what I thought. All right, go on. Yeah, what I was gonna say is,
I like how you said
put-
"go on" when you interrupted yourself.
No, I meant go on with whatever you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, no, go on, Mike. No. Yeah, I meant by.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
You're such a gracious guy, Mike. Hey, maybe Mike, maybe I'll give you a special favor later on, eh?
It's an odd conversation to have with yourself. I'm sure some people do.
Got to keep things interesting.
Yes. Yeah, the best example and the first example I ever noticed in Skyrim is I was just so disgusted with and still am the fact that in Morrowind you had a grid based backpack of inventory. You could see icons of everything
Yeah.
you were carrying. You could like move them around. You had like sort of like the equivalent of physical space in the UI that you couldn't exceed. And then in Skyrim, it's literally just a rolling vertical scroll of one item per scroll. Tap, here's a sword. Tap, here's an
Pray
axe.
that you have
Tap.
no interest in alchemy.
Oh, yeah, God, I couldn't even imagine how that would be. All the different potions and shit you could make. Yeah.
Nope. Like, it was, no, I can tell you, I did fuck around with the alchemy mechanics a lot in that game. Oh, that inventory system was fucking awful.
Yeah.
And it's like, I
Yeah.
have to get past all these flowers to get to the fucking giant's toe or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that kind of stuff. Because I did dabble in alchemy in that game. I think I did it just to, again, just to boost, boost my levels from time to time. Yeah, I said that they changed it to like a cell phone menu. They changed it to where you had like an actual menu that you had to. It's not like the Morrowind menu was like a work of art or anything, but I mean it was like an actual visual thing that you could interact with and move an item here or there. You could see like 50 things at a time. You could just like scroll your eyes past. And, oh, there's the thing I need. But yeah, in the fucking game, like you had different category tabs, but that alone, it's like, why do you have fucking category tabs? Why don't you just have, I don't know, an inventory? Like, why do I have to tab over to this, and then there's my category. Now scroll up, 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 up. There's my item. It was, like I said, it was like a fucking cell phone
And
user's
you
fucking
get into
inventory.
and you get into the issue where it's like, okay, I picked up this silvery sword. All right, let me check its stats and the weapons. Oh, it's not in weapons. Where is it? Oh, it's a quest item. I see.
Yeah, there was that shit too. That's right. Ugh. Love the game.
Oh,
With its
now I'm thinking
stupid
of derpy
fucking
stuff from.
story.
Thinking of derpy UI. I'm thinking of Oblivion with a socializing minigame.
Oh, the social wheel. Yeah, that was a weird one. And once you got used to it and knew what you were doing, you could more or less speed through it. And so it'd be like, I think you, haha, that was a good. Why? How dare? That was funny. Like you just go
Yeah,
like rapid fire through the different emotions to get
yeah,
whichever one had the biggest slice of the pie. What the fuck? What? Maybe they were on drugs. Shit.
yeah. And that was the follow up to Morrowind, where it's just throw money at them until you can get your social skills to not be shit.
Which it's cheap but more
It worked
realistic.
better than Oblivion.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because again, I like the concept of what would be the word? Not fabricate, but well, I guess for lack of a better term, let's rhyme replicate. I think it's neat that they try to replicate, like, kind of like in a very, very obviously clunky way, the flow of a conversation. Like we
Yeah.
don't want that to just be faceless, random,
Oh, that system was awesome and kind of unprecedented. Like the actual system of like when a character says something, it presents multiple topics that are highlighted, and you can click
Oh,
on
I'm
each
not
of
even
them to go.
talking about that.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
Go on. Well, go ahead and finish what you're saying about that, because that actually wasn't the first game I saw that in. The first game I personally saw that in was Shadowrun, for the Super Nintendo. You
I
talk to a guy and
see.
bring up a like the more you talk to him, the more they like kind of like have within a limit. Like each character you talk to in Shadowrun had like their own like whatever like several different paragraphs of certain things they'd say. You couldn't exceed that. You could plumb the depths of how much they'd be willing to say to you about various subjects, but in the process you'd pick up keywords and then you
Yeah.
could then go back to other characters you might have met previously and then say that keyword to them and they'd be like, oh yeah, that, and then they talk about that subject and you get new keywords and open up new story branches. And
Yeah.
Morn was really kind of a lot like that. So I did like that. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. 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 I thought that was really cool. Morrowind. What I was referring to was like how at the top right of the conversation box, there would be like the bribe button. It is just simply pay money and their opinion of you increases. And the like persuade or whatever button, which is just simply run a speech check. If it fails, their opinion of you decreases. If it succeeds, then their opinion of you increases, right?
Right.
And of course, that was how you increased the speech skill, was by using the persuade. So
Yeah.
it became the thing that you would spend money to increase their opinion, just in case you piss them off with the persuade. And then I remember
So funny
reading
thought.
about the gimmick that people would intentionally fuck up speech checks to piss off a NPC so bad they would start combat.
Yes.
And as long as the NPC drew first blood, it wouldn't
You
be
wouldn't get in
murder.
trouble for killing them. Yes, I remember that trick. I might have used that trick once or twice to take somebody's house.
Yeah. Well, see, do you? If it's inside the house, do you have to? Because
No, because yeah, Morrowind worked in a realistic way, unlike, for example, Skyrim, where people would just know that you committed a crime across continents. Yeah.
Well, the
Oblivion
issue
was
with
worse for
Skyrim
that.
was that chickens and horses could report crimes.
That's right. Yeah, which I had to have assumed must have been a bug, but I don't know. For all I know, they just let's leave this in.
The Skyrim guards must have. Some chicken comes flying. Bark, 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 bark. Say no more, tiny chicken.
Yeah. Yeah, in Morrowind, yeah, if you killed somebody behind closed doors, then I mean, it's unrealistic in the sense that obviously no one would like go to investigate why like whatever like Falmer Bob or whatever hadn't come out of his house in 2 weeks. But yeah, they would the house would be yours. I love that aspect though, because I love, like, hey, this would be a cool place to drop off a bunch of my shit, because in games like this you're always having a bunch of shit to drop off, and in Oblivion and up you drop stuff off. If it's not your designated spot, it'll despawn. So it's like,
yeah, because
well,
somebody comes by and nicks it.
Yeah, there's that too. Yeah. Which also was its own kind of neat feature, but it interfered with my ability to just go and, again, like customize kind of like the world to my liking. I found a place in Morrowind that I would like. There were a few places I liked in particular, and I went inside and was like, okay, well, this guy doesn't have really much to say, so good, he's expendable. Kill him. Boom, down he goes. Given the nature of Morrowind, he probably was in some way related to a quest, because like every 1,000 characters in that game, like every one of them has some kind of quest tied to him. But yeah, I would find a place that I liked, kill the guy, and then I could like put my stuff on his shelves, for example. It would be my home, and I dug that. Oblivion, of course, and Skyrim limit it to where you have to buy the specific designated safe spawn place to call your home. Which again, I appreciate the realism of it.
do at least gave you a system for building a house further.
Eventually, that wasn't. That was the DLC, so they did, but it wasn't the core game. Yes, it was. Yeah, which was neat. They also made it like an actual. Like you had to get the materials, and you actually had to like build it up in places, and you got to have like your family live in there, which all that was again super cool. I'm glad that they added that. But again, like by the time they added that, there were mods, hundreds, if not thousands of mods, where you could have any number of houses that did that and way, way more. And so it's just like when they finally introduced this stuff, it's like, it's not their fault that other people did like better first. But it's like, if other people can do better and not even get paid for it, what's your guys' excuse? Like, you're not making another game.
Not
Next
having
game,
to
you're
pass.
Put out a Starfield 8 years from now. Go ahead. What?
Well, in fairness, not having to pass standards and practices is a pretty big boon.
I wouldn't know.
Or the marketing team, or the budget team, or the big guys at corporate who are going to ask, okay, but how does this profit us?
I don't know. See, because I think that if they did DLC that did some of the stuff that the mods did, which they kind of proved later when they released the recent version of Skyrim that has a bunch of user-made mods included as part of the asking price, I feel that if they would have originally released this DLC with mods of that caliber on their own, and said, hey, you also get this for your $20 or whatever, I think that they probably sold many, many more copies.
Sure, but how long did it take them to do that?
I didn't take the modders long. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but how long did it take the guys in corporate to go, hey, this modding thing is a thing. I bet you assholes here in game development, you've never heard of it. So let me educate you to how we should be selling this stuff. And the guys in game development are like, well, yeah, definitely, we didn't know about that. Not at all, sir. Dead on.
I don't know. Yeah, just like an example I can give you again, like the what do they call it? The follower system. Again, like I get it that they can't design and voice and all that, all the different things, but if they can make it to where, like whatever, a bunch of the characters can be, recruited, like Joe the Wood Elf or whatever in that first town, like you're talking about. Well, why not? I don't know, 50 more characters? Why only 12 or however many it was?
It's not like companions had that many voice lines.
A lot of them didn't. No, usually.
Would you like me to carry your things? I will attack him.
Pretty much, yeah.
I have just stepped on a pit trap. Ow, dead.
Not even that much. They just step in it and it would swipe them, and then they like fall into their crouch position. And
there's a couple.
And they get up and stand in the pit again.
Weren't there a couple companions that weren't essential and they just die?
I want to say no, but I would not be surprised.
I
Like,
want
I
to say,
don't
like,
remember any.
the mercenaries you could hire at a few bars, I don't think were essential, were they?
If they were, I don't remember hiring mercenaries at bars. I'm not saying that you're wrong. Like, I vaguely remember that feature, I think, but I don't. I guess what I'm saying specifically is I don't remember enough detail about that issue to know for sure. Yeah, and if they had names like if they had generic names like mercenary, for example, which I don't know if they did or not, but if they did, then yeah, they definitely would have been expendable.
I thought there were some in, like, Markarth. Oh my god, a spider jockey. I'm not gonna fuck with him.
Yeah, those things could be some rough and tumble.
And they're pretty rare, too.
Yeah, yeah, it's already bad enough to fight a fucking spider and then have something leap off of it and continue fighting you.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, I could swear, like, Markarth, the old dwarven place, right? That was Markarth, right? That was the Nord settlement inside an old dwarf fortress.
Like Markarth. That was the one on the fucking southwest of the map. It was in like it was in like a stone city with a waterfall, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was Markarth. God, the names are kind of. I know Riften was the one on the other side. Riften was the southeast. That was the forest city, the city of thieves, because again, famously known for their secretive, whatever club,
Yeah.
their secretive actions with, oh yeah, it's the thief town. Yeah, really, really on the down low, those guys.
We're the Secret Thief
Um,
Guild. Want to join?
that's, I mean, again, that's the example I like to give when I'm, making fun of that particular end of the game.
And, like, I always
Yeah,
imagine it as, like, the same degree of salty as fucking Homer. Hey, Bart, want to see my chainsaw hockey mask?
that was that was a good bit. That's honestly one of the best episodes. Cape Fear with an E at the end.
No, no, it's German. The, Bart,
Yeah.
the. Well, I've never known
You
anyone bad to speak German.
Right. Yeah, another one of those good compound jokes. The bot, the. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, no one who speaks German could be evil. All right, it looks like I did forget where I died. That's all right, go ahead.
I saw someone mix two gags. It was a picture of, okay. It was a picture of old, what was Nelson's, not Nelson, what was Millhouse's dad's name?
Oh, I know this. It's Luann and Kirk.
Kirk. Well, Kirk's boss, the famous scene with Kirk and his boss, and it's Kirk's boss
Yeah.
looking at a picture of that scene, where in that scene, Bart is holding a little cardboard speech bubble above the boss's head that says, "I'm sorry," and then Kirk's boss looking at the picture and saying, I don't remember saying
I
that.
don't remember saying that.
A fucking
Yeah.
double reference.
Yeah, that's about as meta as it gets. That's like, who thinks of something like that?
I mean, Matt's like, I've seen some Simpsons fans that make Matt look very tame.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. It goes back to the concept of any fandom. They're going to have, lunatics and weirdos and assholes. And Simpsons has a lot of, for the most part, I'd say a lot of lunatics. Not so many assholes, from what I can tell.
Yeah, a lot of people who know every episode by heart and can recite
Yeah.
every gag.
Yeah. Probably, but I would say probably that more than almost probably any other show.
Star Trek.
I was thinking Star Trek. I actually just literally thought of that like a split second before you said it. I You're probably right. More so the original fans of the original Trek, but now there's just so much Star Trek. I don't think that anyone really. My guess is that not many people would have like such an encyclopedic knowledge of like multiple shows. Maybe just the one. I mean, because the original Star Trek was only 3 seasons. From Next Generation on, they were mostly 7. So there's a lot of hundreds of, usually about a couple hundred episodes per show to keep track of.
Yeah. The Office. There are some Office fans.
Oh yeah.
That are frightening.
Yeah, The Office is a very good example. Very quotable show. It helps when the show is quotable, obviously.
Yeah. Star Trek, not so much quotations that run around so much as this. Remember that episode where they fought the Fleebles?
Yeah, the Fleebles is that actually?
I've never seen an episode of Star Trek in my life. That's what I'm throwing out.
Some of them are really, really good.
There's parts of Next Generation I've heard that are really interesting. Original series, maybe if I just want to see a little bit of the old cheese.
Yeah, the original, I couldn't get behind it. I fell deeply in love with Next Generation. That's my show for sure. I caught the very fucking very end of it. By the time I started giving Star Trek a try, there were honestly like 15 episodes of that series left. And I scooped them up hard, and then then caught up with the rest of them over the next subsequent years. And sometime around that time, somebody, I think, yeah, my friend Dan, the same guy who got me into Next Generation. Well, he got me into Star Trek. Period. He told me about it for several years, and I was like, I'm never gonna watch that derpy ass show. And he's like, No, no, no. Actually, like one of them is really good. Like I like all of them, but you really like Next Generation because you wouldn't want the the cheesier stuff. Not that the first couple of seasons of Next Generation weren't a little on the cheesy side themselves.
There was some derpy stuff in the Next Generation I've seen that's supposed to be in the good era where the fucking. I saw the clip, it was the Super Best Friends played it because they're having a laugh about it. It's the clip of the episode where, what's the Klingon dude they have in their crew at that point?
Worf.
Worf, right, that Worf. Worf and some other guy go into, I don't know, the cargo hold or whatever of the Enterprise. And while Worf is walking along, a barrel just gets knocked off of
I
the
know
top shelf,
exactly what you're talking
falls
about.
onto
Yeah.
Worf on top of his head, and it could not be more obviously an empty plastic tub that got dropped on the head of, a real life actor, so he doesn't get fucking maimed. But nonetheless, for the
Like
rest of the episode is
bounces.
about how he's fucking
He's broken his
paralyzed.
back. Yes. Yep. To the point, I don't know if you know this much, but to the point that he
He wants
actually
to
begs
commit
to have his life
suicide.
ended. Yes, yes.
Because it isn't the gimmick supposed to be that Klingons, like, they don't get paralyzed. If you get paralyzed, you just kill yourself.
Yeah, Klingons' big thing is that they're very, very honorable. They don't like cowardice and inefficiency, uselessness. So
Yeah.
yeah, Worf is he's doing. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. He's in like the cargo hold looking at something, and then he's like, "Oh no!" Yeah, like a big like standard generic like blue barrel, just like boom, kind of bounces off or whatever. Like I'm probably making it sound like sillier than it is, but you're
No,
describing
it's
it
pretty
pretty
silly.
accurately. Yeah, yeah. And the episode, what I love about the Next Generation is that it's a very philosophical show. The show's it's for thinkers, which isn't necessarily. Ted doesn't like it nearly as much compared to a lot of other series, so he'd bat an eye at that and like say, "No, it isn't. You're an idiot." Blah blah blah. But
Well,
no, the
I've
show.
seen what I've seen of Ted is like he likes Next Generation, but he just doesn't like Picard.
That's because I think Picard's a really interesting character, but subjective, I guess.
Well, Picard's
Star Trek
also very
is.
liberal, isn't he?
I was gonna say the show itself is pretty liberal, so that's another reason why he's probably not that big of a fan of it. The show explores a lot of like which is odd because I don't like this being pushed really hard. But the show explores a lot of the concepts of diversity, tolerance, acceptance. Forming positive relationships, stuff like that. Like I'm all for all that stuff. I don't like when it's preached to me. But I didn't find Next Generation preachy, which is funny though because that's one of the things a lot of its detractors say about it is that it is in fact preachy. Again, I didn't think so myself, but there it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, Next Generation is really largely about exploring concepts. Like again, the episode that I'm talking about, that you and I are talking about, that whole episode is about like when is it
How
good or
acceptable is
okay?
this of a cultural belief?
Yes, yeah. One of my favorite examples. It's a criminally underrated episode that no one talks about. There's an episode where a character, to describe who the characters are is unnecessary. They're actually secondary characters to begin with, so you probably wouldn't know who they are. In fact, one of them was a guest character. The concept is there is a species whose son is dying, and if that continues to happen, their species is going to be wiped out. They're going to be they're very proud species. They don't want to move. Whatever, they have like their roots there. They're really pressed to try and solve the problem of the sun dying out. And there's a scientist who's making really good progress on trying to figure this out, and he works with the Enterprise to get their help, their scientific advantages, their equipment and all that to try and figure out a way to stop this from happening. In the process, he falls in love with one of the again secondary characters of the crew, and he's like, wow, this is really good. Like I have this wonderful thing going, but here's a problem. I have to tell you, woman who I've fallen for, that my species has a thing where once you've hit 50 years old, you have to commit ritual suicide. And she's like, well, what the fuck? Like that is not only fucked up from just a moral perspective because you're perfectly healthy, but in addition, you're about to possibly solve this like this landmark issue that's going to possibly save your people. And he's like, yeah, but this is our deeply rooted cultural tradition. Who am I to fuck it up? And the whole episode is basically about her trying to both convince him and come to terms with, changing his mind on the issue of like just killing himself for essentially just to fulfill tradition. Like how is that pragmatic? This makes no sense. Well, maybe not to you, but you're disrespecting my people by saying that. And ultimately, the show makes the bold move of saying that no, she eventually accepts that he is in fact going to kill himself, and she goes to attend the ceremony. You don't really see it, but you see when he's about to go travel back home to do so. He's like, well, other scientists will follow my lead. I'm going to leave them all my notes and everything else, and hopefully this is going to happen. But yeah, my part is over with. I'm going to fulfill my family's wishes, and like his daughter like makes a very like earnest plea, like don't try and convince my dad not to do this. You're some person who just wandered into his life and you're twisting him with these feelings and all that. You're trying to take away something that he's taught me to respect all my life. You're trying to take this from him, take it from me. Who are you to do that? And yeah, she's eventually like, well, I guess it's not my place to do this. It's what he wants to do. It's what is in his culture. We can't really insult them to say that this is wrong. It's what they believe. And yeah, like I said, by the end of the episode, he goes to travel back home to kill himself, thinking that she's not going to be with him anymore. But she makes him happy at the last minute by showing up just when he's about to go and says, "Hey, I'm going to join you and take part in the in the ceremony. I'll watch. Not I guess I won't watch you kill yourself, but I guess it's like I'm going to watch you have your life celebrated before you go off to do your thing." And that was I like to show that episode to and I've showed it to several people that I've been close to. Like here, you might not like the concept of Star Trek, but here's an example of, to me, a very good example of how the show uses science fiction to tell a very human story and explore the both sides of a very controversial issue.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that's what Star Trek is best at. I love Star Wars, but you don't get that kind of stuff with Star Wars. Star Trek is
No.
very, very deeply into that kind of
You can
exploring
tell
the human
George
condition.
wanted to come closer to something like that with parts of the prequel trilogy, but he just didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah. Yeah, where Star Trek, Star Wars is the action science fiction. Star Trek is the thinker science fiction, which is why I didn't really care much for the modern movies, which are like pretty much all fucking balls out action. That's not what Star Trek is, or used to be.
Yeah. And
And so
Kirk
that's why.
nailing random aliens, I think.
Yeah, which was never really that big. Like Kirk was always known as like a hound dog, but my understanding of the old series is that actually he chased women, kinda, but he was not like the.
Well, it's the 50s or 60s. He couldn't get there.
Yeah, late 60s. Yeah,
In the
67
in the 50s, married couples on TV had to have split beds.
separate beds. Yep, that's true. Star Trek is famously known as the first show to ever have an interracial kiss.
Yes. And
yeah,
is Nichelle Nichols still alive?
I believe so. There's only like 3 members of the original crew who are.
Yeah, it's George Takei, her, and Shatner,
yeah, George,
right?
And also a guy, Walter Koenig, who played Chekhov.
Really?
I think he's still alive.
Oh, that's weird, because
the other one died early.
Yeah, the original Chekhov is still alive, but the new Chekhov is dead. Oh,
I think that's correct. I know the second part's correct. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm aware that Anton Yeltsin is. Oh, did the game just crash?
Right. Let me check. No, I'm still.
No,
I'm
my
still
game
having
crashed.
effects. Really?
Yeah.
I'm still having I'm chopping out pieces of the environment, which usually doesn't happen when your game has crashed. Yeah, it's weird. I guess I'll just run around. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Just about to say I'll run around until it does, and it did.